Hello, hello, my lovely crows, and welcome to another reading. Ouch. Don't worry about me. But I decided to actually pick a card instead of a pick crystal. And I've got four cards laid out for our reading, and we are asking Spirit today about what we want, need, what would serve us in a relationship. I know it is reading like this, kind of like I think it was the first video on my channel, but this one's kind of different. Instead of like what relationship you would want or would serve you the best, it's more like what aspects, what qualities in a person, what things you need or like, dislike in a relationship, whether it's platonic, familial, romantic, intimate, whatever. These are qualities you're looking for, qualities you're avoiding, and either advice getting, finding people like that, and or connecting with those kind of people, and or advice for attracting those kind of people and presenting yourself in a way that attracts the best people. So excited for this message. I was not anticipating doing this, but I was kind of just like, oh, okay. Spirit kind of knocked on me and was like, yeah, you're gonna do this one now. This is priority before the other one, which is kind of the opposite. But we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Check the description for all the decks used in this reading, and for private readings, if you would like to get book one. And if you need to pause the video to choose a pile, go ahead. Otherwise, we're going to head right into the readings. Hello, Group 1, and welcome if you chose this Winter card. The sacredness of passing is what it says. Or pausing, my dyslexic ass. This is your reading. And just off the card alone, starting out this reading for, immediately for this topic. What you need, your wants, what would serve you in a relationship, likes, dislikes, what you're looking for in people, partners, friendships, etc. And just from this, I definitely feel like you're someone who might be a little more introverted, a little quieter, enjoy their free time, their space. Winter is all about that reflection, all of the quieting down, a lot of mental energy. Air rules over winter, and so it's very much being more in your head than being in action. Hibernation is something that comes to mind, and bears technically don't sleep all winter. They kind of coast through. They go in and out of sleep, but they take breaks. They're not actively just trouncing around the woods and hunting and looking for things to do and looking to mate or anything. They're sleeping. They're conserving resources and energy, and they're mostly waiting out the weather so they can get towards nicer times. And I feel like that's definitely something that you are either used to or prefer, is to have some time to recuperate, to just unwind and decompress, especially after a long day. And that might include some space, some you time, some quiet, or it might specifically include like being around certain people who can support that of you, either like people who can enjoy silence, not an awkward silence. All silences aren't awkward silences. It's only awkward if you really make it, honestly. But also someone who is there to support you, but isn't always giving like unsolicited advice or always trying to put their opinion. Or another thing I'm hearing is like outdo you. Like if you were, let's just say like you go to someone and you were like, man, I had a rough day. My car wouldn't start, and customers at work were something else, XYZ. You start talking about yourself, and then they're like, oh dang, yeah, well my day was like this, just kind of up staging you, or immediately like, dang, yeah, and veer off to something about them instead of being there to support you, or at least hearing you out and offering some sort of empathy or sympathy. They're more like, yeah, anyway, now is my turn to have the spotlight. And that's not what you're looking for, definitely, for sure. You may have dealt with that in the past, and you may even be moving out of that with his winter energy, moving into a time of reflection and peace and solitude, where you are really evaluating people around you and the relationships you hold, and what it is that you really seek in a partner, which I mean, perfect reading for you to come to. You may also, be born under a winter sign, Capricorn, Aquarius. Pisces starts in winter, ends in spring. Yeah. I'm also hearing Sagittarius, even though that's technically not winter. That's like late fall, but in lots of parts of the world, by the time you hit Sagittarius season, it's pretty cold. So that aside, we're going to get that out of the way, and we're going to get a few oracle cards. I did not shuffle ahead because I don't shuffle on camera sometimes a lot. So I'm going to get a couple of decks. I will start with the Celestial Bodies Oracle. Group 1 need in a relationship. Group 1 looking for a need in a relationship. Conjunction. A couple more cards for group 1 and what they need in a relationship. Sun. Alright, one more card please. Okay, well, that's 2 cards. I'll take it. Since you were so adamant. We got Waning Gibbous, which I'm actually currently filming this during Waning Gibbous. Probably won't get uploaded by then, but yeah, the full moon was last night, so. And Masculine in reverse. Our bottom deck is Uranus in reverse. Definitely looking for someone who's a little bit more agreeable. With that masculine in reverse, I'm really getting like 2 messages. Either someone who is a lot less in their masculine energy or has a better handle on their masculine energy. You may have dealt with people in the past who were very much detrimented masculine. They were bossy, stubborn, and trying to assert themselves where they didn't have any business. Aggressive even. Dying on a hill that just isn't worth it. And you are now trying to move out of that. You are really reevaluating your values, what it is that you've compromised in these situations. For some of you, I really feel like you might have bias towards like those who you hold close or like those who you frequent around. So especially if this is like a person who might be like a family member, an old friend, a partner you've been with for a while, but things are starting to wear thin. You were like, okay, I know I care, and I know I get attached, and I know we've been around each other for a while, but like, this is not working out the way I want, and it's not growing, it's not changing, and they are planting their heels in the ground and not moving. So you're really figuring out with this sun how it is that you want to present, how you want to project yourself, and how you want to be seen, how you want to live your life. And even in that, it includes embracing your own masculine energy, asserting yourself, putting yourself forward, trusting in your power and your ability, and showing up as exactly as what you want, even if maybe you're not aesthetically how you want to be, or maybe you're not financially where you want to be, or maybe you're not living in the place you want to be in. You can at very least present the best version of yourself. And I'm really getting like Leo, but also like Cancer energy, with that deep self-love and care and embodying of like both the divine masculine and feminine energy, where you know that you are a powerful creature, a powerful being who can create the change, who can be the change they want to see, but also that you are someone who doesn't mind stepping back, waiting, who is patient and kind and open to not only like opinions from others and changing, but like taking a longer route and a different route and not getting exactly what you want at the moment that you want it, and maybe even being cool with like rolling with the punches and modifying plans as you go. Especially with that waning Gibbous, I'm feeling like a release of expectations and not like expectation versus reality, but like having a realistic viewpoint and understanding that things work out certain ways and things happen for a purpose, and that if rejection is divine protection is a sentence that I hear a lot, and I really feel that you may have struggled in the past with rejection or the fear of rejection, especially maybe around people in this conjunction that you were very close to, or for some of you, you may have had interest in someone who was around you, near you, like a coworker, a roommate, a friend, and you didn't act, or you did act and it didn't turn out the way you wanted, and it was kind of discouraging. But I also feel like you might be the kind of person who really does revel in those kind of relationships where you are in close contact, where you guys are around each other often, where you might be someone who prefers like hanging out in person with people versus texting, and I definitely relate to feeling like I'm a better presence in person than like over phone. I feel that for sure. I'm a horrible texter, but in specifics, I really feel like you are someone who really likes cultivating like really close, intimate relationships, getting to know the person, really getting to hang out and be around each other and experience each other and learn each other's light energy and shine together instead of just superficial and here for thrills and good time, not a long time kind of energy. You are a lot more committal. Like the sun has been around for 4.5 billion years, and he's going to be here for another 4.5 billion years, long outliving any of us watching this now. So you are fine with taking the long haul and shining proudly the whole way around, and you want to be around people who have that same energy, who might not have it all figured out, may have had some bumps in the road, might still be getting through the bumps in the road, but they're willing to examine their point of view. They're willing to take both their experience in life and other people's knowledge and experiences and meld them together into growth, change, progress, and letting go of systems and beliefs that just don't serve anymore. And I mean, that's pretty fucking great. I support that for you guys, Group 1. Alright, I'm gonna get some Flowers of the Night cards, if I could just not knock my card hammer over. Group 1. What you want and need in relationships. What does Group 1 want and need in their relationships? Goodness. Got Awaken in reverse with a blazing star. What does Group 1 need and want in their relationship? Okay. Got Power and the Queen of the Night in reverse. I think I got a snake. Okay, one more card, please. Thank you. Got Depth. Woodland Tobacco. Alright. And our bottom deck is Motivation 4 o'clock in reverse. Absolutely. You might still be coming into your power for sure. Like realizing the depth of your power, the reach of your influence over people. Heck, you might have in the past dealt with people who got really, particularly like up in arms and messy and defensive around or over you, and you really could not even still to this day might not be able to figure out why and what it is that got them so up in arms. And it's really just like your influence, like the fact that you are the sun, and you just do not realize how powerful, how influential you are in people's lives, and how much change that you really bring. You are honestly an instigator of big movement. You're like the tower that just moves through people's lives, whether they're ready to see the truth and fess up to it or not, and focus on it. It is something that is a necessary change, and it might push some people out of your way. It might push people out of your path, and that might feel sucky because you're like, dang, I thought that person was cool. I wanted to hang out with them, but it turns out that that person is just closed-minded, unwilling to change. That person is very stuck in their ways, stuck in their mindset. And if you guys had really tried to carry out any sort of like discussions, debates, contemplations of the universe, you know how you do, it really would have either struck a nerve with them and you would have gotten like an argument or something, or maybe this is something you experienced where you tried to do this and they, you know, they popped off and it wasn't pleasant and you're like, okay, never mind, we won't do that anymore. Or they'd really get defensive and insecure and uncomfortable, maybe even to the point of like, I'm hearing like ending friendship right there, ending relationships right there, or holding grudges where like they can't just let go of the fact that they were wrong, or that things can be different, people can experience things differently, things work out for other people, results may vary, see store for details kind of information, and they're just not ready to handle that. And that's fine. You just have a really like a deeper pool of knowledge. Like they're stuck in the kiddie pool, waiting in their little bit of worldview, unable to look further than like 45 degrees left or right. Meanwhile, you are diving into the 12-foot into the pool, doing the backflips and all the things, aerials and gymnastics, going absolutely nuts and having fun. And they're just kind of looking at you like, I wish. Why can't I do that? And then what's wrong with them? Like, they must be doing whatever. They must be like cheating. They must be doping or something. It's like, no, I just practiced. I know what to do, and I'm stretching, and you know, I keep my mind open to other possibilities. You definitely, with those big eyes and the depth card, you are someone who sees all possibilities, all the things around you, and you are not only willing to learn from many sources, but you're willing to be corrected. You're willing to stop and reevaluate and really parse out like, what are you doing? What's going on here? You're very mindful, group one. And it's a trait that people admire in you and attracts people, and you look for in others, that you want to attract in others. Like you want someone who can match that same energy. You don't want someone who's going to both either be pretty much only speak when they're spoken to, or like only have the opinions that you give them. But then you also don't want someone whose opinions are completely left field from yours, and that you don't agree on anything, and if you try and say anything to them that's against what they think, it's right on hand. There's a balance that has to be struck. Like even if you are completely firm and confident in your beliefs, it's exhausting to scream at a brick wall and try and get it to understand what you're saying. And often it's just not even worth it because it's not going to get absorbed. It's just going to be, okay, thanks, and 5 minutes later, back to my own bullshit. Alright, more cards for you. Group 1, what is group 1? One in relationships. What is group 1? In relationships. Alright, I'll take those two. We've got happiness as our bottom deck. I am aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. Exactly. If you're vibing, it doesn't matter if someone else is mean mugging you from across the street. That's on them. Maybe you should reevaluate why you're so mad. We got peace. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. Freedom. These are like the exact same color. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness, which is very interesting because that's like teal, aqua, kind of, just like green and blue, combination of heart and throat energy. Which I feel like that's definitely you. You're well spoken and you have a good mind on you. You very like mentally in tune and sharp. But I cannot get these cards to sit straight. God damn it. But you're also someone who's very compassionate and you listen to the experiences and you hear the emotions and you're not completely tuning out. Like you're very good with nuance. You're not just gonna take raw facts and data. You're not just gonna take anecdotal evidence. You want to take all the info that you have, all that you can get. You want to compile all the data and really examine the facts that you have and then make your informed decision on how to progress, on what to do, on whether this is right for you or not. And that's very good and mature on you, Group 1. I'm very impressed. Yes, definitely. I definitely. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I definitely feel like you're looking for. Both these cards are very much peace, freedom, happiness. Yeah. What are you looking for in a relationship? Someone who can vibe. Someone who isn't like you're not looking for. I'm not saying like you don't want someone who has like trauma or mental illness or is disabled or just has no struggles or anything. I'm just saying that you want someone who understands that life can be tough, that the ups and downs of life, and is at the very least doing their best to ride the waves and figure their way through it. Like, you might not have 100% sunny days. Things might not all be great for you. You might be struggling, you might be suffering, but if you're just waiting for other people to come into your life and influence you and tell you, hey, things are alright, hey, look at the bright side, and show you the happiness that you've been missing, it's not going to happen. And I definitely feel like you've dealt with those people in the past who have been kind of very low, mopey, sad, and unaware is the best way I can really describe. Like, I feel like they really think and feel that their happiness will be found outside of them somewhere, or that like they need someone to come and deliver them the message of you can be happy, you can be better, you're allowed to be you now, go be great or whatever. When in actuality they just need to reevaluate. They need to come to terms and peace with themselves and the strife, the pain, which might require some shadow work, that might require some intense healing, some self introspection that is going to bring up some things that aren't great, shadow work, therapy, journaling, emotional work and healing. And it's not pleasant, it's not fun, but it's necessary. I feel like this is either something you are realizing or in the progress of or have dealt with already. I mean, healing pretty much never ends. You're always healing, but I'm saying this is like the first steps, the getting off the ground, of being able to really start the healing process. And some people are really afraid, really getting that pool metaphor, but with the pool being, of course, emotions. Now, diving into those emotions is scary. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. And hey, that's the same color as chlorine. But it's terrifying to really get into yourself, your emotions, on why you think, act, behave a certain way, on what it is that has influenced you, what it is that you're still holding on to, grieving, struggling with, and why it is, the root of these causes, and anything that you can do, you personally can do, to release this pain, to let go of these struggles that you may still hold on to, that you may cling to, and may still have resentment and pain behind. And of course, I'm giving forgive, not forget. Like, you're not gonna just suddenly one day wake up and be like, "Ooh, trauma, mental illness, struggle, strife, doesn't happen. It didn't exist. Don't know what you're talking about." That's not gonna happen. Unfortunately, you go through shitty experiences and situations, and you have to live with that memory, that experience. But that memory and experience doesn't have to rule you. That doesn't have to be the guiding light in your life. The sun does not have to be burning off purely your trauma and your misery, because it shouldn't. The sun is, scientifically speaking, a ball of hydrogen fusion. And that's really how it should be. Hydrogen is a very light element. It's the lightest element, in fact, number one. And you should be feeling yourself on the light shit. You should be feeling yourself on essentially just the energy of life will keep living. Life will move on. No matter if you stub your toe today, or crash your car tomorrow, or break up with your partner the next week, tomorrow you will wake up and you will have an opportunity to do by you the best way that you can make your life reflect how you want to be happy. Reflect the way you want to be living. Even if you can't live in the super cute high-rise apartment that you want, with the super nice decorations and the super aesthetic clothes and the super cool parties that you want to have so badly, if that's something that applies to you, or however it might work for you, you might not be able to have all that right now, but you can still take the wardrobe that you have and dress it up as nice as you can and make yourself look pretty in the mirror, make your apartment or your room look nice, clean it up, or add some decorations and add some little touches that make it feel a little bit more you and unique and fun. Have a little fun with it. Don't think of in the limits of what you don't have and what you can't do. Instead, thinking in the more of what you can do, what you do have, and what can be done with it, and how you can progress yourself from here, and where you can grow and develop and level up. Because you might only be able to do this now, but coming in like a few months, you might have a better financial situation, or a better just outlook on life, a better space in your head, and that'll lead you to being able to even progress further and grow that job more, make your apartment nicer, feel a little better off more often, have a little better positive outlook more often, or maybe even I don't know, there's a random message, but like if you're specifically like looking for clothes or something and you're like, dang, I really want to get a cuter wardrobe, you might end up getting research into, like, you might start really getting into like thrifting or something, or like clothing swaps, or may even start sewing your clothes. And then instead of worrying about like, dang, my closet's so bland, and then you're starting to be like, dang, what can I make in my closet, or how can I modify the pieces that I have in my closet and make them look really cute and unique and special. And then boom, down the line you're suddenly doing this full time. You're like thrift hauling, or like upcycling professionally, or sewing clothes, or styling people. Suddenly now it's your passion, and now you're attracting people around you who also have the same passion for clothing and fashion and accessorizing and aesthetics that you do. And you would have never really been able to discover these people and go down this path unless you took the first steps in your life to be like, I could be improving. I could make something of this. It's going to come together. And I like how this is supposed to be what you need in a relationship, but half of this has been about you in general. But I'm going to move our oracle cards off to the side and start getting some tarot cards. I will get WD-40, I swear. She's just squeaky. And we're gonna use the Ghibli deck today because I love it. I will have to find the link to her page because she used to use Instagram under Lilac and Lavender Moon, and I might be blind or wrong, but I swear I can't find her anymore. But I do have her link tree, and she has a shop, and it's full of really cool tarot decks like this. Because how could you not love a Ghibli deck? But yeah, she's got a lot of cool tarot and oracle decks, and I really adore her, what she does and her work. I want everyone else to come find it, which is why I'm real sad. Like, her Instagram shut down, and the original link to her, I think her Etsy is also closed, which understandable. Etsy's kind of meh, but so is most shopping. I digress. I will link her in the description so you can get either these cards or other cards. Alright, but group one want and need a relationship in spirit. Who's group one want and need in a relationship? Okay, group one want and need in a relationship. Yeah, because you're all about to fall on the floor. Who's group one want and need in a relationship spirit? Relationship. Awesome. That was 6 exactly. Love that for me. Bottom deck is the Emperor in reverse, which is funny because the Empress was the bottom earlier. Okay, so I've got the Two of Wands in reverse, Ace of Cups in reverse, Queen of Cups, excuse me. The Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, Queen of Wands. Look at that. I guess the slip earlier was kind of right. And the Magician in reverse. A key to match a key. I need to rewatch that. Absolutely. I definitely am getting echoes of what I was saying earlier. You are definitely represented by this Queen of Cups, and anyone that you want to associate is more influenced by this Queen of Wands energy. Because you're a very empathetic, emotional person. You are creative. You have ideas and deep feelings. Deep feelings. I feel like you're definitely the person who tries to be friendly or care for everyone they meet. Tries not to be mean. Definitely the person to address the animals walking by, like you might wave at dogs. That's me. But I feel like with the Two of Wands in reverse, you've spent a lot of time not really realizing the full extent of how happy your relationships could be, how much you've been holding yourself back, and how much you've not really allowed yourself to speak up and have yourself be heard, have your needs be heard, because of worry, I really feel like for some of you this definitely extends to like childhood worry and past trauma worry of like, if I speak up, maybe my family members are going to not be pleased. They're going to say something. They're going to punish me. They're going to tell me to shut up. They're going to, ignore me. And so you learn to just roll with the punches and grin and bear it. But, like, that's not necessary. You are not in those situations. And if you are in a situation where, you ask someone to do something like obviously I'm not telling you, like, tell someone, like, change their whole personality, but, like, if you're like, hey, could you, like, put your shoes by the door instead of in the bedroom, or, like, could you take out the trash or do your laundry, for people who, like, maybe like roommates or a partner, or for just friends and family that you might not live with, maybe they said something or did something that you didn't approve of, that hurt you, that affected you, and you didn't want to voice your opinion because either in the past or you just fear that it's going to ruin things, it's going to mess things up, it's going to be the end, it's all going to come crumbling down. Which, that's not true. That's not facts. And if it is like that, then honestly, not a relationship probably worth it. If they take every single, could you maybe takes this constructive criticism and they blow it out of proportion, as in, like, are you attacking me? How dare you ask me to do anything? I was born with glass bones and paper skin. God. But if they are that reactive and hurt when you ask for anything, when you make any sort of opinion or need known, person's not really meant for your life. That person's probably not a very agreeable character, and probably was more looking for domination and control than actually agreeing and having a good mutual understanding relationship where we can build, develop, and figure things out together through communication. That being said, that's kind of what you're not looking for. You're getting out of those energies and walking away from that. Because we are progressing. You're still finding your power. You're still finding. You might still even be figuring out what it is that you do and do not want. Like, you may have been put in this situation for so long, even up till recent, that you're just so out of touch with it. And I don't mean like out of touch as in like you're old or something. Like being like you don't even really know what it is you like, your interests, what it is that you need. And it might just take some gradual baby steps. It might take some real introspection and healing, some actual evaluation and look at your feelings. I'm really looking at the Emperor in reverse, and he's very much firm, unemotional, take no shit. But he's reversed, so I'm really feeling like letting that guard down, letting yourself be a little unstable, unpredictable, letting yourself be yourself, really. Like, you've put up such a facade and worked so hard to be the parent friend, the responsible one, the one who doesn't need to be taken care of, the oh no, it's fine, I'm okay person, that sometimes you're not even sure exactly what it is that you want. And I feel like that extends to how you want to see your relationships pan out. I feel like you really just want to be around people. With that Queen of Cups, you really enjoy company, you enjoy friendships, you enjoy bonds, comrades, experience, community, sharing experience. You might have your moon in like 11th house. That's Aquarius. That's like community. Or 10th house is like the public eye, midheaven. I'm also getting 5th house, which is like Leo, self-expression. With that also said, it might also be something in detriment, which moons in detriment would include Capricorn, as well as, oh, don't tell me, Scorpio. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't have to be your signs, but that is really the energy I'm getting, where it's like you like people, you want to be around people, you want to have a community and a circle of buddies and people you can hang out with and be your true self with, but it's the emotional blockage of I don't know how and I'm very confused and I kind of don't even know me. I'm still figuring me out. How do I attract people? And the best way to do that is just express you, because even if you don't really know who you are, like even if you couldn't pinpoint your personality or whatever, you're still kind of stuck in phases or figuring yourself out, identity crisis, quote unquote, which life is an identity crisis. Don't worry about it. Most of us don't know what we're doing. We're just kind of fumbling through it and trying to put on a pretty face while we do. And that's really what I'm getting with that Queen of Wands. You're going to connect with people, and I feel like that vulnerability, that being like, haha, yeah, I'm just making it through, just putting one foot in front of the other, trying to figure things out. I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. But putting that energy out there, just being your truest, most honest self, obviously not just like jumping your entire life story on someone immediately, but like being upfront and vulnerable, like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing in relationships, or I'm just out here doing my best for getting text messages and coming back 2 weeks later to tell my friends that I missed them and I hope they're doing all right. And you'll be pleasantly surprised to see how many people also are just in the same boat, struggling through, trying to figure themselves out, trying to putting on this face of like I've got it all figured out, and they might do a little better per se, like they might have a little bit more confidence or charm, but that usually just means they have a little more practice in it, and they probably are in the same kind of boat as you, figuring it out, just as emotionally scrambled, may have gone through some similar experiences, there is a warning that I just heard. Do not connect with people just because you went through similar experiences, and I will explain that because it's coming back to this Two of Wands, Seven of Pentacles energy. See, I feel like you might have the tendency to want to take care of people, and you are very empathetic, bleeding heart, and you hear people's stories, and you hear or see yourself in their stories, and you're like, ah, that could have been me. Oh my gosh, I know someone who was like that, or I've been through that. Gosh, I understand. I feel so bad for you, and then you might just focus on that. You focus on the struggle, or you focus on their struggle, and you really start throwing out your back and trying so hard to fix them, to help them, to get them into a better place. I keep returning to the image of the Seven of Pentacles. You can see Sophie just looking at the mess in here like, what in tarnation? And I feel like you have the tendency to put yourself in those situations where you connect with someone because you guys have similar experiences or similar emotions. You connect. Trauma bond is a word that I keep hearing, where you two might have a similar experience, a traumatic experience, and you really connect on that, and that kind of becomes like the focus of your relationship is that connection, is that painful experience that you share. And so it becomes harder for you to detach from them, harder for you to justify walking away and realizing that there's no progress, or seeing the fault in the situation because you see yourself and you don't want to be that dude, you don't want to be the person who's cold to someone who's struggling the same way you are, because you're like, dang, I wish someone would have been here for me. But also you have to realize that at a certain point that you can only do so much for them if they're there sitting for you and waiting for you to fix all their problems and remedy everything and help them out and be their guiding light. Then how are they going to function if you are not around? They can't live like that. They can't become like this. And I know your heart's going to bleed for them, and I know you're going to worry for them. And I'm not saying slam the door in their face. I'm just saying create distance and be careful of attaching yourself to people solely because you feel bad for them, or you have sympathy for them, or that your empathetic side comes out and you guys connect on that. There's nothing wrong with being empathetic and sharing in your pain, but make sure that your whole relationship isn't just pain and focused around said pain. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna start getting some advice, and actually, I want to get something from this deck first. Let's get some clarification, advice. Group 1, and further messages for Group 1, please, Spirit. Further messages for Group 1, Spirit. Further messages for Group 1. Alright. There it goes. Which way do you want this to fall? Upright, gotcha. Where'd you go? Alright. So we got the Ten of Swords in reverse. Oh, come here, damn it. Queen of Pentacles. The Six of Swords. I was really getting that earlier. And the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And the bottom deck is the Nine of Cups in reverse. Yes. You've already gone through your suffering, your struggle. What is underneath here? Yeah, Nine of Pentacles in reverse, exactly. You've already gone through your period of suffering and struggling. You're healing, you're on your journey, you're on your way. You are well underway. So you do not need to be returning to that energy. And I know that you are empathetic, and I know that you're better off in a better situation, in a better control of your environment, of your finances, of your health and ability and your lifestyle. And so now you feel like, okay, well, since I'm better off now, that means I can take care of others, right? And yes, technically, and I'm not saying care about no one except for yourself, but I mean take it in responsible places. With that Three of Pentacles in reverse, you might be drawn towards volunteer work or just community help instead of wanting to, sit around and be be the therapist friend, or keep trying to talk sense into someone who won't have sense talked into them. Because you're looking to be happy, you want to be happy, you want people around you who are also on the same path of healing, trying to be happy and trying to find their happiness. And you can't do that if you're burning yourself out for someone else, if you are trying to lift someone else up while they are pulling back with such force. You are taking care of yourself, and you are making your domain, the world around you, reflect the beauty that is inside of you, and don't let anyone come in and try and trample over that. Be careful and be very cognizant of the friends that you keep around you. Make sure that they are treating you well, that they are making you feel good about yourself. Like, are you bringing people into your life who are bringing weird, like, unhelpful and toxic mindsets, who are always down and humdrum and bringing you down? You bring friends who are always super mean and toxic. People who only, like I said, focus on how they've suffered and the bad things in life, and refuse to be happy for you, and refuse to support you, and are always taking, but never giving. Because if so, they need to be out. You need to start cycling these people out of your life, unless you want to continue to be in this down energy. Or at the very least, you need to speak to these people and see if this isn't a problem that you can remedy. And if they are being stubborn, if they're being obstinate, if they're refusing, if they're not seeing that there's issue here, then it might be time to slide to the left, Oh, let's get the Astro deck in here for some advice. Also, I said Scorpio was in detriment. Technically, I think it's fall, which is the opposite of exaltation. I'm still learning astrology. Bear with me. But Scorpio is opposite Taurus, which Taurus is exalted moon. So fall is kind of similar to detriment. Detriment is like down bad TM technically. Fall is like second place down bad. For example, I have Aries Saturn, which is Aries in fall. He's not supposed to be. He's not very happy there, but we make do. It doesn't mean that everything's gonna be piss poor for you. It just means that you're gonna have to, excuse you, cards. You're gonna have to work a little harder and maybe employ some different techniques than the average Joe to make things work for you. Your methods might be a little bit unorthodox according to those around you, but if it works for you, it's healthy and no one's hurt, it works for you. Alright, group 1. What advice we have for group 1, Spirit? Advice for group 1. Advice for group 1, Spirit. Advice you have for group 1, Spirit. Okay. Oh. Hold those there. Advice for group 1, Spirit. Yep, that's it. Okay. And our bottom deck is Chiron in reverse with Heal. Oof, my arm. We got 40 in the second house, resources. And then we got 50, the 12th house, introspection. Which is Taurus and Pisces ruled houses, respectively. And definitely value your time and your energy more. Is immediately what I'm getting here. Your time and your energy, your mind space, the wisdom you have, and the experiences you've been through that have given you the ability to really have a mature outlook on life and yourself. Those are very important. Those are powerful tools that many people around you would envy having. They would And I mean, they have the ability to get it. As I've said, that you have people around you who may just be stubborn, who just may not want to see the facts in front of them and take the time to dedicate themselves to it, figure out how to make it work for them the same way that you had to figure out how to make it work for you. Because it's not been a linear process. It's been a push and pull. It's been trying it, trial and error. It's been you having to deal with things that aren't so pretty, that are less, like I said, shadow work earlier. And 12th house is all about that shadow, the unknown, the mysterious. Which is why introspection is the name. It takes a lot of mental acuity and effort, clarity, and introspection for you to come to these things, to have come this far, to be as emotionally mature and have grown as much as you have, and to be in the place where you are able to see the life around you, as it is and for what it's worth. And instead of yearning and craving and being desperate for the new fix or the what's next, or feeling a lack, you are assured in what you have, you are assured in what you can do, and you are assured in what you can accomplish in the future if you continue down this path of healing, growth, and responsibility, really. And you are in this energy, really attracting people who are in the same kind of vibe, who are also working towards this. And those people, that 40 to 50, that's going to be a big jump. You're jumping from people who are less cooperative, who are not working with you, who maybe you haven't been able to find common ground or work with, to people who have similar values, who have similar skills, similar life outlooks, and similar mindsets. Not in the echo chamber kind of way, but in the way of like, yeah, I have also dealt with something like this, and I also see the way you see the world. I'm also working towards a goal like you are, in a similar way. It might not be the same goal, but like, you might be the fashion designer, and then they're like working on music. But you're both dedicated to your craft. You both have resources and understanding on how things work and how to progress and what you want to do. And you're right now in the phase of really trial and erroring and figuring out how you want to make progress forward. And you guys get along while you brainstorm and you talk about inspiration and things. You have jam sessions. You're able to share art and pieces with each other, and constructive criticism, and have just bang up good times, because you understand each other's point of views. You might not you're not the exact same person. You might not have gone through the exact same experiences. You might not want the exact same things, but you have similar outlooks enough. Your ideas mesh. Just like 40 and 50, they both end in 0. They're not the same number, but they both end in 0, and they're both divisible by 10. They're both divisible by 5. That's cool. They get along quite nicely. Ugh. Get a couple cards from this last Oracle deck to close out our reading for you, Group 1. Very interesting reading. Wasn't sure what I was going to get today. Kind of just told to do this reading. And I was like, alright, bet. I had completely other reading planned, and I'm going to do that one, of course, but 2 impromptu readings is always fun. Okay. Just throws the deck. Group 1, what advice do we have for Group 1, Spirit? Advice for Group 1, please. What advice do we have for Group 1? Thank you. Got Peacekeeper in reverse. Let go of the need to be right. Alright. I'm taking that one, not those. Thank you. Got Druid, hold the space, and that's in reverse. Can you get one more card, please? Okay, yeah, there goes my last card. Oh. got Spirit Fox in reverse. Trust your talents in the changing times. And our bottom deck is Skyfather. Trust in the unknown. Absolutely. Some of you have spirit teams that have been kind of knocking on your door, trying to get you to tune into them. Especially if you are starting on a spiritual journey, or you've been in a spiritual journey, but you've kind of had road bumps and not been consistent with that druid in reverse. I really feel that you may have, like, you just felt busy, whether it was because you're taking care of everyone else, or just because there's a lot of things on your plate, you're dealing with a lot, life is a lot, you know how it is, handling life. But Spirit's reminding you to take that time, that space for you to take care of yourself and your life around you, instead of constantly trying to be abreast on the conversation, constantly trying to be the one to fix the problem, constantly trying to be in the know of everything. It's okay to not be in the know of everything. It's okay to turn the news feed off, to stop scrolling, to just take some time out for yourself. In the same way, it's okay for you to turn your attention in other directions. If you will suddenly, I'm getting, if you have messages waiting on, Instagram or something, but you're scrolling through Instagram for, fashion inspiration or something, don't feel obligated to respond to people immediately. Because people who need you to reply to them, ASAP Rocky like that, it's generally not a healthy relationship if you cannot have just a period of time where they're not talking to you. I get it. You see someone online, and you're like, oh boy, they're going to reply to you, and they don't. It kind of sucks. You're like, dang, that's rude. But also realize that sometimes they don't come online with the priority of talking to people. Sometimes they come online to check something real quick and then go. Sometimes they come online to look something up. Sometimes they're just here to melt their brain with mindless social media because life's big, and that might be something that you do often, where you get on social media just to chill and calm down and de-stress. And that's not bad, but also it would be a healthy thing to evaluate those habits. How much time you're spending on social media, what you're doing in that time, how it makes you feel. Do you want to be doing something else? Are you just scrolling aimlessly because, your brain's telling you, hey, you should probably do this, and you're procrastinating on it? Or are you just taking a quick scroll through just to check on a few things and make a few things, a few likes here, get an inspo there? Or are you just here for hours and hours trying to tune something out? There's a need for more consciousness there, and nothing wrong with that. But also, if you are seeing that you are in unhealthy habits, unhealthy patterns, and you're wanting to change it, start small. You don't have to just immediately jump into cold turkey. Okay, no longer using Instagram ever again. Deleting my accounts. Goodbye. Because that is, if you've ever had to deal with quitting any sort of addiction or habit, the worst thing you could do is just cold turkey. Most people who cold turkey it end up going back harder on that habit. So you can limit yourself. If you know that you spend, 3 hours on Instagram every day, you might be like, okay, we're going to do 1 hour of Instagram, and instead of that 2 hours, we're going to do all these things that I want to do. Maybe you've wanted to take up a new hobby, or maybe you've wanted to do some research on a certain topic. Maybe you wanted to get out there, you are that social character, you want to switch it up on them. So maybe instead you spend your hour on Instagram and then you do some research on the groups that are in your area, community centers and stuff that you want to visit and partake in. And even if you don't go, or even if you go and it's like, well, that wasn't what I would expected. Well, you went out, you changed your habit, you went out of your way, and you probably met some new people, saw some new things, did some new things, and switched it up. That's the step towards really getting in touch with you and figuring out what it is that you want, and instead of just dawdling through the day and letting time fly by you and hoping that the ideal will come to you sparked one day randomly. Most times ideas do not come to your door. You have to, much like spiderwebs, walk into them. Interesting that your reading wasn't much about other people and what you need. It was more like, it wasn't much about the people that you have around and like what you need from them. It was more like what you need to do in relationships and how those habits, how those habits will help bring people into your life who are more reflective of what you want and need in a relationship. And it's true. Be the change you want to be. Be the change you want to see. That is a great life motto to have, and a great place for us to end off Group 1. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading. Thank you to your guys as well as mine for helping me get these very interesting, very helpful messages out for you guys. And thank you for watching this video all the way to this point. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Check the description for personal readings, decks that I used, links to the lovely Lilac and Lavender Moons page, because I love this deck with my soul. Otherwise, thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Hello, Group 2, and welcome if you chose the Skeleton card, Strength. This is going to be your group. And we are asking for you today about what it is that you want and need out of relationships. Yeah, any kind of relationship, romantic, platonic, familial, business, just relationships in general. What you need out of people, what you expect and want from people. And just starting with Strength here, you definitely are someone who's reliable, stable, there for people. It takes a lot to wear you out or make you crack. Like, you're not usually the person who's super overwhelmed with emotion, or you're not the one. You might be the more mature person in your circle, friend group. You might be a manager at your job, or you might be running your own small business. You might be a parent for some of you, or a caretaker for others. But generally and genuinely, you are sturdy, steady, and usually takes a lot to make you crack. You're not someone who folds under pressure easily. You may have in the past, and I'm not saying that you don't have your weak days, your breaking points, but it takes a lot more pressure than just a little push, and a little change in the tide, a little curveball here or there. You've taken your fair share of sharp lefts and still kept on course. And you're looking for someone who can definitely weather the storm like you, who is also reliable, stable, steady, someone who is responsible, someone who you can offload even some of this responsibility. Like if you're someone who's very much like a single parent, or like a manager, just taking on a lot of responsibility and holding up the weight of the world on your shoulders. You might be handling it, but like it would be nice to have someone to help you out, It'd be nice to have a second leg to help hold the table up. And definitely not looking for someone who's just like, it's not like you would completely reject or like not accept someone who isn't as independent and self-reliant as you, but you're seeking, you would prefer to seek out like more so the former than the latter. If they come to you and you guys work out and they're not as self-sufficient and independent as you, that can be worked on as long as they're willing to listen and work and be the best version of themselves. But what you really are looking for and seeking in a person is reliability, loyalty, independence, interdependence with each other, like working together and cooperating and making things happen in tandem instead of working against each other. Definitely, for sure. Alright, let's start getting some other oracle cards for you. Start with the Celestial Bodies deck. Group 2. 2 in reverse. Group 2. What is group 2 looking for in relationships? Okay. I'm not taking all those, Spirit, please. I'll take that though. Got 8th house in reverse. And one more card, please. Group 2. What they're looking for in relationships. Okay, goodbye. It just sailed under the table. We got 4 in reverse in our bottom deck. Let me go find the card that has just decided to peace out. Oh, please don't hurt yourself. Alright, we got Waning Crescent in reverse. Interesting, interesting. Definitely echoing what I said before, where you're looking for someone who's a little less codependent and a little bit more malleable. Waning Crescent is all about releasing and introspecting, rest, taking a step back and looking at the whole picture. As is the 8th house. 8th house is all about transformation, rebirth, death. It's also about, birth, sex. It's very scorpionic energy, judgment energy. So you're very much looking for someone who understands these things, who is at the very least willing to listen and be malleable. Like, not someone who's very rigid, set in their ways, not willing to listen, not willing to take another opinion. With that 4 in reverse as your bottom deck, you may very much have dealt with people who are headstrong, stubborn, set in their way, and will not move at all. And that's not good for cooperation. That's not good for making ideas happen and making progress, because when you're so dead set in what you're thinking and how you're living that you refuse to even consider another option or consider modifying options, then it's going to be your way or the highway, and that's exhausting. You may have definitely dealt with that. Hell, you might have even been that way for a while, and it wasn't until you went through your own kind of like a tower or dark night of the soul, a moment where you had a step back, and really ego death is also coming to mind. You may have really had that moment of feeling lost, having to refine yourself from having your worldview changed, shattered for some of you, just completely flipped on its head. It may have been completely due to someone either lying to you or persuading you down a path that was just not meant for you, that was not something that you were really looking for, but you were kind of just persuaded due to they seemed charming, or they seemed confident in what they were saying. They seemed to know what they were doing. Or for some of you, they wouldn't take no for an answer. Like, you told them the sky was blue, and they were like, no, I refuse. And it's like, but it's right there. And it's like, mm-mm. And so you were essentially just made to deal with the fact that this person is just ignoring the reality of things, and you had to just grin and bear it while they had their cognitive dissonance in real time. And now you have the ability to really speak for and stand up for things that you believe in and yourself, and you are refusing to work with those people who will embody that same energy of stubbornness, of rigidity, of refusing to think any other way or see things for how they actually objectively are. You might be a very mental person, a very thoughtful person. With that 8th house, you may have Scorpio placements, like heavy or important Scorpio placements. And you're more predisposed to that deep, introspective, trying to get to the most, get every idea out that you could possibly, every scenario, every possibility that there is, and people who aren't on that same wavelength, who are just like, I've got this surface level, and I'm done. I've got what I've been handed, and that's it. I know what I know, and I don't care about anything else. It's just not. That's not what you're looking for. That's not it, and you would rather keep those people, a little bit at distance. It's not that you can't work with them at all, but it's not someone you really would find common ground with and or see yourself working in a long-term healthy relationship with, because like I said, if they're not willing to change, if they're not willing to see anything else, if they're not willing to back down, that's unchecked ego right there, and you're done dealing with those. Very much over that. Also wanted to mention that 2 is the month, giving me the month of February as well. 4 is giving me Aries, and 4 in reverse, being in Aries reverse, kind of really gives the Emperor energy. You know, stubborn Emperor, not backing down, very rigidly stuck in their ways. Versus 2 would kind of be more Aquarius and Pisces, which is the collective energy and a lot of introspection and deep thought and out there thought, out of the box thinking. A notable person who is Pisces and Aquarius cusp is Kurt Cobain. He is born, I think his birthday is the 20th of February. It's pretty much like the day that it switches. So, yeah. And a good idea of how you might be a little bit outside the box in thinking, and those make powerful statements, and you're not willing to conform to someone else's nonsensical my way or the highway, it's like this, so don't change it type thinking. Random tangent, there we go. Move on to some more oracles. Get me a sip of water. Alright, sit there. Oh. Delicious. Awesome. Alright, excuse me. Group 2. What group 2 want in that relationship? Okay, got influence with spiny star. It's pretty. Group 2, what's group 2 looking for in a relationship here? Okay. I'm tired, that was just like, I want you split now. Okay, how do you want to fall? That's fine. Would you not destroy everything though? That'd be even better. Huh. Okay. We got balance with the chocolate flower. One more? One more part for group 2, please. Excuse me. Transformation. The angel's trumpet in reverse. Alright, and we got creation bottom deck in reverse. And night blooming daylily. Exactly. That influence, I'm not hearing that you want someone who's like influential, like a celebrity or like someone powerful, but you want someone who like understands their power, who knows the power of their words, their thoughts, their actions, and uses those with, you know, with mindfully, with good intention, and with that balance, definitely to do more helping and healing than just self-serving nonsense, you know, ego-serving and chasing approval and validation and such. We've got transformation in reverse, right beneath the 8th house in reverse. Again, with the messages of you want people who will adapt, who can change, who can take constructive criticism, who know how to speak for themselves and wield their power and aren't just going to back down at any challenge. But also conversely, people who will listen to opinions and outside ideas and consider them and not just throw them out because it's different, because it would have to calls for change or switching up how things go. Someone who's not afraid to do something a little different. I mean, most of the big advancements in society and in history have been because someone decided to do something different. Someone decided to speak up. Someone decided to wield their power and wield it against a conforming, a non-changing, a countering effort. And because of their effort, because they tried, because they spoke up, because they put their foot forward and their foot down, and they rallied the people behind them a lot of times, Because when a lot of times you think you're the only one thinking this thing, and often it's like a lot of people are having the same idea, feeling the same thing, and would like to make the same moves, but everyone's just timidly dancing around and worried about, oh, I don't know, what if I get, what happens? I don't know what's gonna happen. What if it's bad? I mean, there's always that possibility. But I feel like you group two are ready to push that envelope and are a lot less afraid and worried about backlash. You have these ideas, this energy, this spark behind you that you want to see push forward, and you want to find people who are compatible, who also have that same drive, the same interest, the same desire for change, transformation, and growth. I really feel like you might be a humanitarian type group too, especially with that, how you feel like you are taking care of people, energy, very mature, and like the you have the skeleton, but you're the backbone of your group, your circle, your family, etc. And I feel like you want to extend that power, that energy, that change to bigger, broader horizons. Some of you might be looking into like philanthropic efforts, political efforts, things of that nature, bio conservation stuff, ecological conservation. There you go. And you're looking for people who also have the same mindset, interest, desire to change, and the drive to actually make things happen and put their foot forward and actually make a difference instead of just talking, instead of the performative activism of just like tweeting about it 50 times a day, because that helps. I'm not saying you can't tweet about it ever. I'm just saying there are some people who will do pretty much just only talking about it and only just be like, oh yeah, I reblogged this thing. So like I'm pretty much out here like Mr. Beast planting trees and scooping plastic out of the ocean, right? It's like, how about you figure out a way to circle up your community and make like a community-wide trash cleanup or something instead, since you have all of those Instagram followers. Just a suggestion. That kind of went off the rails, but I think that tangent made some sort of sense. Alright, one more Oracle deck before we dump into... I said dump. Jump into the Tarot deck. Group 2. What is Group 2 wanting and needing out of a relationship? Couple cards. One more card, please. Thank you. Our bottom deck is Courage. Yes, so that energy, that influence. I find the inner strength to face the fear with confidence. And Strength was your first card, so... Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Alright, what do we got? Alright. Got Perseverance in reverse. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. And Loneliness in reverse. I know that I am never alone. Absolutely. You might have a very small, like, personal circle group too. Like, you might not keep a ton of friends around you, but the friends that you do keep around you are like the ride or die ones that you've known for years. Like, you met each other in elementary school or in the same neighborhood, or like you guys met at an event one time and now you're inseparable. I definitely have some friends like that. And those are really the best friends, because those are the people who you can pretty much throw any weird or wacky idea at them, and so long as you already know that that's the kind of things that they're into, that's the kind of interests and drive that they also have, then they will probably be like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And I definitely feel like if you don't already have those people, that's the people you are attracting, the people you are looking for, the kind of people who you can start any sort of project with, and they would be on board, they would be ready to go. You say, I'm going to go on this adventure to do this cause, and they'd be like, when and where, let's go. They might not, some of you might be, college age and not in the best finances or not in the best straits of life, but it's more about the ability to have the courage and have the willpower to want to have the idea to figure out the plans, even around the limitations that you have. Like, you might not have a car, but you want to help people, so you might find a friend of yours that has a car, or you might just figure out how to get the buses to work for you, or you might save a little extra money so you can get an Uber to and fro, so it makes it easier on you, whatever it is. Or you might even, I was mentioning earlier with the Instagram, if you do have like a little following or something online, then you might actually reach out to them and be like, hey, so I'm trying to do this cool community thing, or I'm trying to help these people out, but I myself only have so much and only can do so much. Can you help me? And you'd be surprised. You know, I've really seen some efforts come together when people, very simply, like people are like, I am in need of X thing. Can someone help me out? And then they post that on like their Instagram story or something, and some kind Samaritans will give them some donations or pass on the message, and they'll know a guy who knows a guy, and before you know it, person needed $300 for an emergency surgery. Now they got $500. That's great. And you might be worried like, oh, well, what if it doesn't get traction? Okay, and it's not the last solution. It's not like the world is going to end. There are other ways around. And I feel like that is definitely something that you are looking for as well, is someone who is not deterred by something not working out the first time, or working out perfectly the first time, things not working the way they expected. People who are worried about just appearances also. Like, I don't want to post that on my page because what if people think I'm XYZ? What if people think less of me? What if I get judged? Okay, but if you believe in it, if it's what you care about, if it's what you're dedicated and motivated by, then like, so the people who are going to be naysaying over a cause that you genuinely care about that isn't hurting anyone, why does their opinion matter? They obviously have nothing better to do with themselves than to shit on something that you care about that is hurting no one, that is possibly helping people even. And if those are the kind of people you're concerned about, then those people are the kind of people you need to encourage out the door. That was a weird stutter, but okay. Alright, I'm going to start getting some tarot cards from you. I'm going to use the Ghibli deck because I love the Ghibli deck. I have the shop to the Ghibli deck linked in the description. She used to have an Etsy. She does not use Etsy anymore, but she does have a shop. She has mini decks like this, and like she's like a 90s Oracle deck and a Care Bear deck. And cute stuff. Alright, gotta get another sip of water first. Group 2. What does group 2 want in the relationship? Okay, we got 10 of Swords in reverse. Okay. Tower. Okay. 10 of Pentacles. And 5 of Cups. Our bottom deck so far is the High Priestess in reverse. Very interesting. I'm definitely getting the energy of you want someone who has at least a little bit of a experience with the ups and downs in their life. Also noticing how this is almost nearly balanced, save for there's no wands right now, but there is the Tower, which is fiery. It's Mars, the Martian energy. Get her done. The 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords in reverse. Like someone who's seen the ups and the downs, like they understand. Life can be great, life can be awesome, but life can also suck balls. You can really roll a 1 on someone's luck and just send your whole life spiraling, and it just, whether you deserved it or not, you could really just end up on the wrong end of life, on the wrong end of existence, and have everything ripped out from beneath you. And I feel like you've experienced that personally, especially with that 5 of Cups. Like, you've experienced the ups and downs, you've experienced how the world can turn on its head. You've seen it. If you have not experienced it firsthand, you've seen it. secondhand through someone either you care about, someone who you knew, and how a lack of awareness, a lack of forethought, and harnessing your emotions, really, your mind and your emotions for the better, instead of just letting them rule you and control you. You've seen how that can just go take you through the ringer and ruin things. You've also seen people go to the brink, pretty much see hell, kiss the gates, and come back and turn their lives around. And I also feel like you're really inspired by those. You might have, like I said, you might have firsthand experience with it, and it may have brought you into situations where you met other people who had similar experiences. Like, the first thing that came to mind was, like, if you struggled with any substances or are struggling with any substances and you go into rehab or like an AA or NA type group to recover and do group therapy, you might have heard and met some people who were very much like inspirational or reminded you just like how bad it can be, how rough it is, and how dark, how even in the darkest hours that you can find your way back, and that all is not lost until pretty much you have lost yourself. Asterisks. Of course, there's a lot of societal and financial barriers of entry and hurdles, of course. But I'm getting at, like, in general, if you are willing to get help, if you're willing to try and fix things, then the change can be made, the progress can be created, and that you can pick yourself up, you can move from that bottom, that rock bottom, the very just stuck in the hole, dead and gone, and you can make that motion towards even if you're not just like completely happy and chipper and things are going great, you're at the very least doing better. You have at the very least improved things and have grown and have changed and have either made changes or are making changes and steps in the right direction. And these are the kind of people that you are looking for in your life. The people who have either been through and understand this same mindset and situation, or regardless of having been through the situation, people who are willing to pick up the pieces and try, put an effort in, instead of just giving up on things when they look rough and bleak and messy. Knowing that there can be action and there can be change, and it's mostly a from inside of you situation. Like, you're not looking for people to fix you or situations to turn around for you and why is this happening to me. You're looking for solutions personally. You're looking for, how can I build up to this Ten of Pentacles instead of expecting it to be just presented to me? How can I harness this power? And how can I make my power not only like known but work for me, instead of just letting my power go and be utilized and or thrown to the wayside because of stigma or limitations that either I put up, I could have put the barriers up for entry, or they could have been laid before me. But how many times have people broken through barriers of entry and thresholds and glass ceilings in history? It's something that can be done, and it's something that you believe in, and it's something that I think you're just figuring out how it's the best to go about doing it, really. I feel like this is all over, but I hope you're following along, Group 2. Can I get clarification on the Ten of Swords? High Priestess in reverse. Yeah. Clarify the Tower, please. Thank you. Nine of Pentacles. Yeah. Clarify the Ten of Pentacles for me, please. The Queen of Swords in reverse. And clarify the Five of Cups. Empress. I knew that was going to come out. I do not know why. And our bottom deck is the Moon in reverse. People who aren't afraid to be vulnerable, open. Also hearing people who aren't afraid to joke and be wrong and make light Not like, oh, we're gonna make light about really serious situations, but like understanding that sometimes you cope with humor, or sometimes you have to have a little bit of fun, or you're gonna just completely get down and be miserable and stuck in your emotions all the time. With that Five of Cups clarified by the Empress, I'm also getting that they might be the kind of alchemists to change their emotional pain and the experiences they've been through, the things they've seen and had to deal with, into growth and change and even art for some of them. Like I'm getting Kendrick Lamar and in Linkin Park with how they make stories and music out of the pain and trauma and the things they've gone through and seen. That is power, and it's not only power, but it's a true understanding and handle on how you feel and how this situation made you feel and how you've grown from it, to be able to objectively put it into not only writing but also put it out into the world for people to see, because that's just like peak vulnerability, is put it out into the world, all that you feel, all that you know. But you know that with that Nine of Pentacles in the Tower, it's like you've seen the shit, you've been through it, it's shaking you already, and you've already got your footing now. You know what you're doing, and you are ready to take whatever life throws at you. It might not be easy and it might not be smooth, but you understand now where you've been was, it might not have been like, it's not a necessary evil, but you have grown and matured. It, unfortunately, probably faster than what you would have preferred. That rhymed. But these lessons, this experience, and these tower moments, I feel like it might have been plural tower moments with the Ten of Swords and a tower, have really helped you harness your power, your energy, your voice, and it's helping you establish yourself as the powerful, wise creature that you are. This whole bottom row is just queens. We've got the High Priestess, Nine of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, and the Empress. These are four women who in the tarot are very powerful, very well spoken, very mentally acute, and emotionally in tune. And even though only two of them are upright, the fact that all four of them are there at all means that you are definitely someone who is embodying that. And you expect that out of people who are around you, who are in your life. You expect the same kind of openness, vulnerability, responsibility, mental awareness, self-awareness, emotional awareness, and handle and maturity. I'm not getting that you want them to be like all fun and no play, but like you want people who will take responsibility for what's happened. You want people who are working on bettering themselves instead of just wallowing and sitting and letting life happen to them instead of being the force on their life. You want people who are actually putting plans into motion instead of just saying, oh yeah, I'll do that, yeah, it's gonna happen, yeah, we're totally gonna do that, and then nothing ever comes of it. Making empty promises and constantly saying it's going to happen, it's coming, it's going there, I'll get there, etc., etc., etc. It's like, okay, I've heard excuses. Now, give me the truth, the facts, give me your action, give me some, like, a good example is when people apologize, but then they just keep doing the same thing. It's like, you can't really be sorry if you're going to continue doing the same actions over and over and then apologizing. It's not like an Uno reverse. You don't just get to put it down and then sorry and now you get it's fine now. No. If you say sorry, then I'm expecting you to change your actions and change, improve, and do better. And if you're not going to do that, then it's just empty, and those are just words. And anyone could just say words, bobbity boo. Those are just words. And you spent way too long just hearing just words and getting just promises and just believe, just listen. We'll be there. It'll be there. Yeah, it will work out. And then having it all just come to nothing and ending up with a big egg on your face, and you're no longer accepting that in your life. You want people to be open. You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and you will not stand for no dancing around the facts and immature, I refuse to see this because it hurt my feelings. yeah, you know, life gonna hurt your feelings. You gotta roll with it. Actually, I think I want to get this deck first. Yeah. So we're gonna get some further messages and advice. Start with 7 cards. Group 2. Messages. Group 2. Okay. What are the messages do we have for group 2? Goodness. What are the messages do we have for group 2? Thank you. Divine masculine in reverse, which is funny because you got all that feminine energy. Alright, let me go find all the cards that do themselves. Yoink. Is that it? I sure hope so. Because I can't see anything else. I take my glasses on so you know I should be able to see. Alright, our bottom deck is 5 of Swords in reverse. Definitely. Someone who is not afraid to be wrong. Someone who's not afraid to stand down. And underneath that was the Queen of Cups in reverse, which I see the King of Cups out here. Also got the 10 of Cups. We got 3 10s now. 10 of Swords, 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. Got the King of Swords. Put him right. I think that's reversed though. Yeah, I'm going to put it right on the side for his Queen. The 6 of Wands, don't mind me. That is, I use the Jokers as the masculine and feminine energy, so this is the divine masculine in reverse. And oh, there's the last 10. 10 of Wands. And we also got the 5 of Wands in reverse that fell on the floor, and the 3 of Swords. Yeah. It's funny that you got 2 kings and the divine masculine. Huh. Definitely looking for someone who is, you know, mental, but not completely, like, illogically mental, you know, only, you know, like the atheist, Reddit type, neckbeardy ones who only will take absolute scientific law as a word, and only if it's factually backed up by, like, some nonsense source, and half the time those sources aren't even reliable sources, and just that kind of person is what you're not looking for. And I think we mentioned that with the 4 in reverse at the beginning, where they're just so stubbornly stuck in their ways that they refuse to see anything except for what they believe and what they think is right, and God forbid you try and tell them anything or change their opinion or anything like that, because they will throw a whole fit, and they will, in some situations, they might try and use their mental prowess, so to speak, and they're trying to even like manipulate you into thinking that they're right. And you definitely are, with that Queen of Swords in reverse right on beneath it, you're definitely more powerful enough and intelligent enough to deduce usually when someone is trying to be, you know, smarmy and manipulative and worm their way in with tactics like that. But you may have also dealt with this in the past. That's what I'm hearing. With that 10 of Cups above it, it may have even been in your family, or someone who was very close to you, who was very much pushing their mindset, their ideals, and only accepting what it is that they thought, what they believed in. And if you so much as countered or thought differently, strayed away from the pack, it was, oh, excuse me, not pretty, not cute. So you may have a very, maybe still unlearning a distrust towards people who act a little bit too smart. And I'm not saying you're avoiding people who are smart, because that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. Why would you do that? But I'm saying that you might be warier of people who are very known, quote unquote, for being smart. Like if their big shtick is like being the facts and logic person and always being right and always being abreast on the topic and always being a front of the trend, being the sole authority on something, you might have an immediate distrust for them because it's like, well, if they have all this power and all this sway and influence, all of that, and they seem pretty unchecked, then what's keeping them from just kind of making up what they want and keeping their own status quo? And that's something you're trying to avoid yourself. Because I know, like I said, you were very much someone who wants to make moves and see that the healing around you as well. The King of Cups and the Six of Wands, you want to be known for being empathetic. You want to be known for being giving and caring. You don't really want to be known for causing hurt and grief. And the thought of being associated with someone like that is terrifying. The thought of those people in general, the thought that people would use the guise of philanthropy and or caring for others, fixing and bringing solutions to the modern problems that we face as just clout chasing or good PR makes you sick, and you don't like that at all. You hate that. It's so disingenuous. And I think I mentioned Mr. Beast earlier. That you might be not like attracted, but like you might be attracted to those kind of efforts where it seems like they're pretty selflessly just involved for the good of others. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of endorsement or incentive. That's the word I'm looking for them. It's not like they're like Mr. Beast. I feel like of all people so far, I have no complaints because it really just seems like he blew up by just wanting to be generous to people. And I mean, I fuck with that hard. You might too. That's definitely something I feel like you were aiming for, is people who are just selfless because they're selfless, like helping out. They care about others, and it might not be trendy. It might not be as glamorous. It might not be as interesting. And it might not get them as many views. They definitely don't care about the views as priority. But if their efforts are noticed and it helps someone, then that's all that matters. You just want to be a force for good in the world, I really feel. And you want people around you who also are a force for good, who are also trying to bring peace and resolution to these problems that have been plaguing. You're a very philanthropic group too. And you definitely have the means and mindset too. Okay, so we're going to get some more quartz for advice. Word of advice before I pull up the next cards. uh, Definitely in relationships, don't be afraid to ask for help and surrender some duties over. Because I feel like you're definitely the kind of person who will just go and go and go until you're burnt out, because you'd rather take care of things because you know you have the capacity or know you can than inconvenience someone. And I know it may have been easier in the past, and there might still be situations where people are stubborn brick walls and or just uncooperative, but when you know that there's something that you can off onto someone else, or you can delay doing, or you can get assistance in doing, then definitely ask for the extension. Definitely ask for help. Definitely ask for time off, because you deserve rest. You need rest and the space and energy to recharge if you're going to be putting out so much energy and caring and compassion and just giving into the universe. You can't just give and give and give and expect to have something left to give to yourself at the end of the day, especially if you don't recharge or reload at all. You're going to burn yourself out. Alright, group 2, advice for group 2, Spirit. Okay, group 2, Spirit. Advice for group 2. One more. Huh, there's that strength again. I'll take that. Thank you. We got our bottom deck as square, semi-square, and quincunx. Tension. That is the funny one with the birds just running into each other. There's like. Alright, we got strength. Dignified with strength again. We got 7th house in reverse with a relationship. And Juno in partnership. Yeah, definitely. Some of you are dealt with people who you're in partnerships with, or for others of you, very close friendships or even familiar relationships. But I'm feeling a lot of you as partnerships that may have caused this wariness, the wound. Also, 3113, interesting. But you may still be wary of the intimacy and the trust in someone, especially just like dating might not be something you enjoy, I'm getting, and that's fine. There's other ways into getting into a relationship besides just casual dating. But you also have to remember to put yourself out there. Like, you can't. Some of you, especially with that Queen of Swords and the High Priestess in reverse, might be more introverted loners. Like, you like the idea of going out and being out there, but then you're actually out and out there, and you're like, no. Never mind, let's go home. And I get that. But you also have to, if you're trying to meet people, get out there, put your influence into the world, you kind of have to, put yourself out there, get out there, put your influence in the world. Also, just notice, I said 1331, that's 45, and next card was 54. Very interesting. You might be seeing a lot of angel numbers and repeating numbers. Not specifically palindromic numbers, but angel numbers in general, because it's very interesting. But don't feel bad about, not immediately jumping into a relationship with someone if that's something you're looking for. Or don't feel bad about not immediately divulging all of the most intimate parts of you. Because just because you're someone who's vulnerable doesn't mean you just go up to anyone who's like, hello, my name is Blank, and this is all that I've been through my life. This is my story. Definitely something that I feel like you may have done in the past and regretted for whatever reason. And, I mean, it happens, to each their own. But I also feel that there's mostly, that was like a fear of abandonment there. The one that you're healing and one that you have definitely grown from since where you were before. Afraid of, speaking up and speaking your truth, in fear of rejection, in fear of judgment, in fear of things going wrong. And hell, for some of you, it may have quote unquote gone wrong. Things might not have worked out the way you wanted. There might have actually been tension when you spoke your mind. But that was just, rejection is divine protection is a phrase that I hear a lot. And definitely in that situation, if it wasn't serving and you didn't realize that the fire was there and raging, and you were the house was slowly getting engulfed, and you just were not out, that was spirit pretty much kicking the door down and be like, all right, out. And while it might have sucked, I feel like now that you have moved on, grown, now that you are healing, now you have the hindsight, there you go, the hindsight to look back and be like, oh, well, yeah, there were cracks. Yeah, it wasn't gonna work. Yeah, that wasn't great, and they also weren't great. You can see you're able to see where you weren't doing great, but also there were cracks and flaws from the other people or other situations, and you're able to take an objective view and really get down to the bottom of what wasn't working and what needed to change, and now you are better equipped to prepare for challenges in relationships and challenges in other interactions with people who aren't intimately intertwined with you, people who you don't share a house or bloodline or a bed with. Because the understanding of yourself and your pros and cons in relationships and how to handle yourself in such intimate situations without just completely cracking and falling apart is definitely something that helps you handle yourself in other more public situations, more even like formal and business situations. If you can speak your mind and be vulnerable and talk about the thing that's worrying you and scaring you, then what, you can't present in front of a couple CEOs? Nonsense. Yep, more cards from this deck. And we're going to finish off this reading. Okay. Group 2. What advice do you have for Group 2, Spirit? Alright, Peacekeeper. I think Group 1 got that. Ooh, not bad. Broken Arrow in reverse. Ooh. That way. Reverse. Alright. You got Stargazer in reverse. See your sight. Set your sights higher. Peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. And in Broken Arrow, embrace the energy of peace in reverse. Our bottom deck is Sun in reverse. Enjoy success and happiness. You really haven't had the chance to do that, have you, Group 2? Because I feel like your successes have been overshadowed or kept to yourself even. For some of you, I get peace twice. Got embrace the energy of peace, and I got Peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. So I really feel like whether it's because of the people who you were around or just situations you weren't able to really celebrate your victories and be as bright, celebrated, and set your sights for the sky. Reach for the sky. You know. Don't mind me and my Woody tangent. But you really haven't had the chance to really celebrate yourself the way you deserve and want to. And now you've got the chance to live your life. Hey. And yeah, if you have something you're proud of, show it off. If you've got a skill that you've worked on, why not flex a little? It's not going to hurt anyone. If you want to learn something, improve it, why not? Put it on the list. Figure it out. You're really good at logicking out things and making plans and making moves. So if you've got a goal in mind, if you've got something you want to do, start setting up the skeleton of it. Start brainstorming. Start getting people who you can trust in on the action, and they might give you some ideas that you couldn't even consider or thought of. It'll be something that'll become a collaborative effort, just like you want. Because I really feel like you are the kind of person who loves working with community, who loves sharing their ideas and their progress, their abundance with the community, with the people around you. I'm really getting a first order of business by Baby Keem. I might link that in the description for y'all because I like that song. But if you've got big dreams, big ideas, and a big mind, got stars in your eyes, and I can see you really, once you start embracing it, what it is that you are good at, what it is that you are thriving with, and what it is that really fuels you, lights your fire, your sun. And you're no longer afraid to let it out, let it shine, and you're around the right people who support you, who are actually encouraging you and celebrating your victories instead of just like, oh, cool, you did a thing, ignoring you or pretending you didn't even do anything, or minimizing it, God forbid, cutting you down like, oh yeah, that wasn't anything, we can do better. Other people have done, like, boy, if you don't get out of here with that negative Nancy BS. You really are getting the people around you who are a lot more supportive, a lot more emotionally in tune with themselves, because it's really that emotional dissonance that causes those kind of resentful feelings. You get jealous and upset and bitter when you see people succeeding, because it's like your brain's like, why am I not succeeding? Why am I not doing well? And it becomes like a battle between upset that you don't have what they have and upset at them for making you feel upset. And it just becomes a weird amalgam of just anger, bitterness, sadness, insecurity, disappointment, resignation. It's all a cocktail. It's not tasty either. It's like made of absinthe and gym socks. But you're getting people who would prefer rum and cokes instead of drinking that atrocious concoction that I described, because instead of being bitter and sad and upset that you're succeeding, they want to join in on it. They want to learn from you. They want to see how you're succeeding. They want to show you how they're succeeding in their own way and combine efforts. They want to collaborate. They want to work together. They want to learn from you and vice versa. And they want to experience the ups and downs and become even more powerful, go even further beyond, and see the world around them evolve to match. And that's hard to do when you're pretty much only seeing what you don't have instead of what you could be gaining and what could come if you were to change the angle, change the sight, change the lens. Very interesting group too. I loved this reading. I love your energy, and I am rooting for you to find some people who are on your same mental and emotional wavelength, so that you can thrive in a posse of people who will actually celebrate you. Thank you so much for tuning in, though, and thank you to your guys as well as mine for helping me get these messages out for you. Thank you for watching to this point as well. Been a long video, I'm pretty sure. I'm at 55 minutes. Yummy. Hit 55:11 too. That's again with those angel numbers popping up randomly. But thank you so much for tuning in, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you have a suggestion for more videos, or like what you'd like to see in a video in a reading, you can leave them in the description. Leave them in the comments. Check the description for the decks used. I think I'm going to leave you that song. And if you would like a book of writing reading, otherwise I will see you in the next one. Hello and welcome, Group 3. If you chose the Witch card, this is your group. You're going to be reading on what you are wanting meaning out of relationships. And this is any kind of relationship, and whether it's platonic, romantic, familial, acquaintance, business, whatever you're feeling. And the Witch says, the earthly weaver of the worlds. And just off of that, I definitely feel like you're someone who might be more particular about their friend group. I got like earth sign energy, but specifically Virgo. You're very specific about what you want, who you want. Like, you're not going to stand for people who don't work with you. You're not going to stand for people who are holding you back or killing the mood. It's just this English. I'm distinctly getting the image of in the Emperor's New Groove when Cusco's dancing at the beginning and he bumps into the villager and he's like, "Oh, you throw off my groove." And then the guard comes over and is like, "I'm sorry, but you seem to have thrown off the Emperor's groove." And he gets thrown out. That's you. You will not stand for no nonsense in your court. Maybe you won't be so drastic, but I feel like maybe you've had to, or you won't hesitate if you really have to. That being said, for the people who you do keep around and are cool, I feel like you're definitely like a magical one kind of individual, which anyone would be really happy and lucky to have around. I'm really getting like Queen of Wands, Queen of Pentacle energy, where it's like the people who you keep around, you shower them with attention, affection, gifts whenever you can. You try to take care of them. You hype them up. You take them on adventures. You really just enjoy living in the moment with them and being around them and make them feel like you show them how much you would cherish the time you have with them and how you spend your relationship, essentially. How you really just cherish and enjoy the relationship you guys have. And I love that for you. Great. It's a really great thing to have and to show people. I'm going to get into oracle cards. I'm also going to get some water because apparently my throat hates me today. Awesome. Did I kick the camera? I did not. Good. Alright. Let me give this a good shuffle for you. Okay. Or not. That was a terrible shuffle. Can I please get a couple good shuffles? Thank you. The only problem with this deck is she's a little thick. which makes the process of shuffling just a little bit more high stakes. Okay. Group 3. What does Group 3 want and need out of relationships? What does Group 3 want and need out of their relationships? Got Jupiter in reverse. What does Group 3 want and need out of their relationships? Okay, goodbye. What did you just... Oh, that's 2 cards. Nope, that's 3 cards. I'll cap it there then. So our bottom deck is Uranus in reverse. Very interesting. I think Group 1 got Uranus in reverse, if I remember correctly. What's under here since it'll show itself air? Yeah. So we got 8th house. Got Capricorn. And 2 in reverse. Okay. 8th house and 2 came up in Group 2, but completely different, well, not completely different, but very different vibes here. Well, no, not very different. Similar but different. Because I feel like you are in the process right now. Or you might be a little bit more brazen, bold, and brash. But with that Capricorn, I really feel like you are in the process, in the process of really going through the change, the growth, the achievement, development, working on your goals, working on yourself, and getting yourself into stability, into a state of fiscal and like lifestyle stability that you can really look back and be proud of. You're trying to make the changes and let go of things that are otherwise no longer serving. With that 8th house, it's really about transformation, change, growth, rebirth, death. It's that scorpionic energy. And you are letting go of anyone who is just taking and taking and not giving anything. People who are not doing the same scaling up of their skills, of their lifestyle, of their existence. With that air on the beneath the Uranus, I really feel like you're just someone. You might be very mercurially based, and like I know this is 8th house and Capricorn, which 8th house is Scorpio and Pluto and Jupiter, which is like Sagittarius and Pisces, and then we got Uranus, which is Aquarius, and all of those. But I'm just like air signs and mercurial because I said Virgo straight out the gate. So Mercury. You're very mental, you go very fast, and you might be someone who's willing to drop things, change things, and roll with it. Roll into a excuse me. Oh, goodness. You're willing to completely turn the car around and do things completely different. If it means that you're achieving what is right to you, right in your heart, what you believe in. I'm gonna get some water because my throat is just like ah. But yeah, you have a very strong, particular mindset and will, and you won't be swayed by people who are just standing still in your way, who are not moving, who aren't deciding, more fickle and just kind of going with the team that wins. You know, you're not one of those people. You have very big energy. Jupiter and Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, those are the big boys. You have leadership type energy, very strong, powerful, and while you like working with people, while you have a good influence, and I feel like you're very much like I said, a leader, or at the very least, you're someone who can co-lead very well. You're very helpful on things like projects, in situations where things are kind of going awry, like if plans suddenly switch up, or if unexpected obstacles come in the way, you're usually the one who's really easily able to come up with a solution on the fly, or direct the group to stability or safety or a better outcome than it would have otherwise been. And you're kind of looking for someone who's kind of thinking on their toes and looking in the same way. Like they, with the Capricorn and the Jupiter in reverse, is like they might not always have to be right, perfect, the best, but they're trying. You're obviously putting their best foot forward. They're obviously thinking with their big brain and doing more than just sitting there waiting for someone to decide for them or waiting for things to just work out. They're definitely not just ignoring their problems and stepping around them, hopefully. Not hopefully as in like they're just or hopefully doing that. I mean like they're just stepping around it with hope that it'll just right itself or something. They understand that to make change you have to actually create that change. You have to do it with your hands. If you want something done, you gotta do it yourself. That's something I stand by. I live by. Because unfortunately, reliability is scarce a lot of times. And when you find those people who are in your same wavelength, who think like you, who are as forward thinking and maybe not independent isn't the word, but innovative, there you go, as you, who aren't held back in predetermined boxes or limited by people's expectations or their fears. They might be afraid. Like, I'm not saying you're fearless. I'm not saying that you don't doubt yourself or worry or have moments that are not so great, not so strong, not so bright. But I'm saying that you recognize your strengths and your weaknesses, your great days, your days. You recognize your accomplishments and what you can do and what you are doing and where you are going. And you recognize that you are pretty much the sky is the limit. Whatever you can think of and dream of, if you're willing to commit to the effort, willing to commit to the regimen and make it work for you, then the only thing stopping you is you. Interesting. Let's get some more cards for you, three. Some flowers in the night for you. What does group 3 want and need out of a relationship? They love. Got, oh geez, affinity in reverse with the night flow. Group 3 want and need out of a relationship. Got restore with the rain lily. One more card, please. Nice. Oh. Where'd it go? Wisdom in reverse. Night orchid. Absolutely. And our bottom deck is intimacy in reverse. Evening star. I heard very clearly that some of you might be wanting like a friends with benefits type situation or relationship. But like you may be running into one of two things. Either the people who you want to have a relationship with aren't on the same wavelength, as in like they are wanting either long term or like one night stands, or you just aren't finding anyone, or it feels like the people you're looking for just aren't popping up and you're like, dang, I'm a little bit miffed to say the least. Why is no one, I swear these people exist, and they do. Keep that idea. Hold that passion. Hold that vision. You are that witch, and you will make them appear. You, by being yourself, by being your proud, hardworking, and interesting self, they will manifest into your life. For some of you, that might include joining new circles for like hobbies, classes, workshops, with that affinity and wisdom in reverse. You really enjoy people who have curiosity, who want to learn and grow, who know that they know very little. And the man who knows something knows he knows nothing at all. Everybody. But you have a thirst for knowledge and learning information, exploring the world, and expanding your universe that isn't just satisfied by sitting around and observing the world around you. You have to break out. I also get, Jupiter is ruled by Sagittarius, so it makes sense that I'm getting a very Sagittarian energy from you. But I definitely get, they might have a wanderlust, you might have the desire to like explore, or like I said, take classes, invest in different hobbies and interests, explore different aspects of yourself, your personality, or really deep dive into specific interests of yours and get very involved. And you'd really want and are looking for someone who is very interested in either the same things or has the same avid attention and interest in learning, travel, expanding their horizons, and growing their worldview beyond just like the place they live now. I also feel like you would definitely want like a stable rapport with this person. Like whatever the relationship is between you guys, you definitely need some to have the place and space to just sometimes chill and vibe. Like I feel like you might not be the kind of person who really takes a lot of like especially with the intimacy in reverse, you might not be someone who's very involved with like being clingy or super duper needs to be around people all the time to give them the vibe that you care about them or remind them constantly that you care and are there and you love them, etc. You don't need to always do that, but when you do spend time with each other and when you do have those intimate, caring moments, it's very obvious. It's blatant, and your love language, I really feel like I said, is like expressing the things you care about and are interested in, as well as like giving and taking care of other people. Those are very much showcased when you are close to and especially like privacy with people you care about. Spending time with these people might also be a healing activity, something that makes you like rest you and makes you feel replenished, especially after like a long day. Or for some of you, you might be like introverts, and being around this person or these people, you're looking for or you may be looking for these people who you don't feel drained around, who you can hang out with and not feel like you have to go home and completely recharge your social battery for. If you know, you know. Interesting, interesting. I'm gonna get one more deck of cards for the oracles for now. Oog. I'm just a little bit distracted, just a little. Group 3, you might have ADHD for some of you, or some other neurodivergence of that sort, because I really got the idea of body doubling with that restore and the 2 in reverse. It's like you don't need to spend time around someone to work, to function, to be happy, and or to make them feel like you care. However, like I said, when you do spend time together, it is valuable time spent. It is time that is healing, and you both feel 10 out of 10 at the end, and you feel accomplished. Like you might not even get anything done. You might just sit around watching an anime or something, or playing video games or something. But after the day, you feel great. How did I hear I lost 10 pounds thanks to Nutrisystem? But yeah, you might, they might be someone who you like even vent to, be super duper open and vulnerable with, and not feel like you have to put up any sort of farce. Just be like your absolute weirdest, normalist, like normal to you, which is might be weird, quote unquote, to societal expectations. And you just let your guard down and let loose, foot loose. But I came here saying body doubling, which is the act of when you do you and someone else either sit in the same room or sit on a call and both work in tandem. You don't have to talk. You barely have to acknowledge each other. But it's just the act of being there with someone else. It's like the accountability of, yes, I am working, yes, I am doing the thing, instead of just fucking off on my phone, instead of just getting distracted by everything that flashes at me. We're both actually sitting here doing a thing. And that might be kind of something that you're either looking for or something that you guys end up doing often. Alright. One more deck. Group 3. What do they want me out of the relationships? Group 3 want me out of the relationship. Ooh. Alright. So we got, acceptance is our bottom deck. It says, I'm learning to accept things that I cannot change. Ooh, excuse me. We've got peace, which also came in group 1. It says, I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. And we have purpose. It says, I know what I'm here to do. Absolutely. Like I said, someone who, they might not have all of their ducks in a row. They might not have everything figured out, but they know what they want to do. They have goals. They have plans. They are working on it. They are trying to execute things, trying to make the ball move. Even if the ball isn't moving fast. I'm getting like a Knight of Pentacles. Like, even if the ball isn't rolling it down a hill, even if it kind of feels like a Sisyphus situation where you're just pushing the ball up the hill, this is not a fruitless endeavor. This is actually making progress. Unlike Sisyphus, at the end of the day, you'll be further up the hill. And I feel like this is also you expecting understanding, self-awareness, and just compassion for not only yourself, but like empathy for others and their situations, you know, whether you're doing great and they aren't, or vice versa. You have understanding that, hey, this world is wild. Some people roll a nat 20 and some people roll a 1 for no reason. And we are figuring out what to do with every roll of the die. And literally rolling with it. You may have also experienced that. You might not come from the worst, or maybe you have seen some things come from rags to riches, or rags to at least an apartment. You may have even just gone through a lot of struggle emotionally, mentally, or fiscally, and now you've come to a place of more peace, stability, calm, and you are always grateful to just have what you have. Like, you might not have the shiniest everything, you might not have the newest everything, you might not have the best everything, but you're grateful what you have. You're grateful for what you're getting, and you're grateful for the experiences that you will be able to have whilst you continue to grow and go through life and expand your world, including expanding your circle. Oh yeah. It's also very throat and third eye. I feel like some of you might have a blocked throat. Like, speaking is a little harder. Getting across your thoughts and what it is that you're trying to convey. You might have really great big plans and ideas, and you are figuring out how to put that into action as well. And having those people there to mirror you who have a similar motivation and drive is helping you also get ideas and inspiration to move yourself forward. And you're not like resentful or jealous of these people either, which is really great. Like, acceptance at the bottom is like, you're not hating these people, you're not competing with these people, you're not trying to outdo these people, you're trying to run parallel to them. You're trying to, like these two flowers, they're just growing with each other, they're vibing. There's no competition, there's plenty of moonlight for both of them. And you are living that same life. You are trying to grow and expand and create projects, create a life, create a future that you could be proud of, and that you can look at and really see the progress of where you've grown, how far you've come, and what all you've done. Whether it looks like a big progression from the outside, it'll feel like that from you, and it'll look like that for anyone who knows you and is close to you and cares. I love that for you. Group 3. Get the tarot deck out. Do-do-do. This chair, I know, you need oil. Alright. Shuffle the deck. Which will be, the shop will be linked in the description, because she does not use Etsy any longer. Oh no. Oh, it's gone. Yeah, I had a sword from the first. Don't want to do anything rash. One more shuffle, please. Fool on our bottom deck. Think of all my children. I think it's only these two. Come here. Come here. Okay, let's see how we're going to arrange this. Interesting. Another card that came out in group 2. 10 of Swords in reverse. Right there. Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Wands in reverse. Alright. Put the Page of Pentacles up there too. I'll move you off to the side because we're running out of room. Got the 10 of Wands. Reverse, okay. Queen of Cups in reverse. Ooh, goodbye. Move the cards around. The Moon in reverse. Come on, we can off it. Put the Hermit in reverse. Alright, bye. That works now. The World. Just a whole mess today. Everything's falling. My pillow fell. My cards are all over. This chair won't stop squeaking. We've got the 7 of Cups. King of Swords. And the 6 of Swords in reverse. Very interesting. That's the most cards we've gotten so far, that's for sure. Interesting. Yeah. The first thing I heard was when I brushed the Page of Pentacles and the King of Swords. Someone who is mature and wise enough to know that they're always a student. Which is pretty much just echoing what I said before. The man who knows something knows he knows nothing at all. He's always welcome to learning, growing, expanding your horizons, and getting even more information about a topic. You know, not afraid to be wrong, not afraid to be corrected, not afraid to God, what am I trying to say? Add to their knowledge and their wisdom by being the student instead of the teacher or the master. For sure. You may have, with this 10 of Wands and the Queen of Cups in reverse, you may have spent some time, especially in the past, with people who were very judgmental or very picky, kind of getting a little bitchy about you being completely right and you're perfect and great at everything you do. And if you mess it up or if you're not, excuse me, immediately succeeding, then there would be consequence, or there would be complaint that, oh, you're wasting time, or, oh, you're never gonna succeed like this, so you're all this switching ideas, switching mindsets, switching goals, or fingers in all these pies is just gonna get you confused, stuff like that. And it may have scared you. That Ace of Wands and the Hermit is really giving like it scared you. You were worried, you were afraid to really come out of your cave, come out of your shell. And you stayed stuck, quiet, repressed your curiosity, repressed that urge to explore, to go around. Like, what if Sophie had just snatched her hand back from Howl and Howl's movie castle just didn't happen? Exactly. That is how you've been living. You've been living like Cinderella before she goes to the ball. No one has seen you. No one gets to talk to you. You just sit there, cleaning the house, sweeping the chimneys, covering the ash, and quietly wishing that your dreams could come true. The dream is the wish your heart will make, but not your life. And now you've really gotten that opportunity. And also notice that we have the Fool in the World, and then the Ace of Wands, which is the card right after the World, was reversed. So it was like, dang, you were stopped right after you, as you got to the realizations, right as you got to the crux of it all, were ready to take off. And now you're finally getting that opportunity. That ace that got denied is getting flipped. It's back. It's ready for action. It's actually getting planted in reality, ready to take off, take names. And almost like with these times of pain, this 10 of wands has led to a time of healing, of recognition, of introspection. You've had the time to really dig into yourself. Oh, that sounds painful, but like, yeah, there were wounds, there were unresolved traumas, tensions, struggles, and I'm not saying you're completely 100% healed, because life is a healing process. But I'm saying that at this point, you've really come to terms, to reckoning with a lot of the things that you've struggled with, a lot of the pain you've dealt with, and have really been able to come into yourself, come into your power, come into the reality and mindset that you want to hold for yourself, instead of holding yourself back to satiate and please and keep the peace. The time for that is over. The time for new adventures, for exploration, is now. And that is really encouraging you to dream big. The Seven of Cups and the Fool. It's like the horizon is big and ready for you. The sky's the limit. You can do pretty much what your heart tells you. Your dreams are going to become reality. With all of the sorry, the neighborhood children are loud today. But I just happened to look over at my deck, and I noticed all three of the bottom deck cards all have the same picture of Chihiro looking out into the ocean, wandering. I really feel like this is how you've felt lately, or really in the recent past. You may have been on a journey that was mostly secluded on your own, exploration, expanding your worldview, horizons, interests, and facets of yourself, exploring. Oh, look, the fourth card underneath is yet another Page of Cups in reverse. I was about to mention that too before the yelling is coming back. Sorry, forgive me. But I was going to mention that it feels like you've definitely done a lot of healing, especially might be getting in touch with your inner child, with the wounds that might still lie there from your childhood and from past times. But you've definitely taken a lot of time in the recent past to work on your wounds, work on your emotional and mental pain, things that have been burdening you, holding you back. Otherwise, like things that have been affecting you, because trauma really can affect you in such ways that you didn't even realize, and you won't even recognize until you're associating with certain people in certain situations or in certain scenarios, and then something triggers you, or you react a certain way because that's just how you think that's supposed to go, or that's how you were conditioned essentially mentally to react to a certain stimulus, a certain emergency, and now that's just how it's conditioned in your mind, and you've been unlearning those patterns or figuring out the root of them so you can stop them before they start. And that is a great deal of healing, a great deal of progress that you've put in. And you should be proud of yourself for Group 3. That is a lot. That is a big effort, and that deserves all of the accolades and cheers that you have not gotten. But I feel like the next step is just continuing to expand your world, expand your horizons. You're definitely looking for someone who's more paralleling you on your journey, or is otherwise, excuse me, willing to keep up. I'm really just noticing that the moon has Haku and Chihiro, which is, they're kind of made to be sort of equals in this situation. Or not equals per se, but like Chihiro can only really turn to Haku for her emotions, her vulnerability. She really trusts in him because he understands her, he knows her, and he gets what she's gone through, what she's going through, and how she's struggling. And the same with in the King of Swords with Ashitaka and Sen, or San, my bad. Sen is Chihiro. And which actually I think San is the Queen of Swords in this deck. I'm not going to dig it out because I'm lazy, but they are very much matched pairs because they go through a whole journey of growth and discovery of themselves through the movie of Princess Mononoke, where San learns to trust the humans through Ashitaka, and Ashitaka learns to listen to and like take heed to the spirits, especially through San's help and intervention. So you're definitely looking for someone who is willing to, not like someone who's like wants to become codependent, because I feel like that's kind of what I'm hearing myself say. But no, you want someone who is emotionally vulnerable, someone who is in touch with their feelings and needs, someone who also either is on the journey or has gone through this journey of, you know, going through the troughs and peaks of life and people, who has also learned the limits of their mind and their capacity and knows what they can and can't handle, what it is that sets them off and what it is that they enjoy. They understand themselves, essentially. They have come to terms with their strengths and weaknesses. They're essentially like their game stats and what it is they're good at, what they're not good at, what they can do, what they can't do, what they'd like to do, what they'd like to learn to do, what they can learn to do. You know, they have a healthy attachment to reality, realism. They understand the world, and they're not only willing to work with the ebbs and flows of life, but they're also willing to take a crack at new things, take a spin around, and like I said, not be the teacher in charge all the time. Be the student. Be the one who is patiently waiting. Be the one who isn't sure of how everything is going to come out, isn't sure of every answer, is not in charge and in control of everything. Go back to being this Ace of Pentacles and being curious, excitedly watching to see what will spring forth and what can come out of these situations, instead of always knowing and expecting the ending and being aware of how it'll all pan out because you've been around these people, you've been in this situation. Now you're able to break the mold. Now you are able to switch it up because you have such a grasp on things, on yourself, on the situation, on the skills and facts at hand. And like I said, the sky's the limit. I feel like I've said that like 5 times, but the sky is really the limit for you and these people, group 3. I get some more cards. Shuffle some more for y'all. Group 3. What further messages and advice do you have for Group 3, Spirit? Further messages and advice for Group 3. Further messages and advice for Group 3, Spirit. Nothing? Okay. Further messages and advice for Group 3. There we go. We got the 6 of Cups in reverse. Absolutely. And what threw itself on the floor. Also, they all are face down, which is very unusual. You might, like I said, you might be a very private person, someone who's not really into the just broadcasting all your feelings to the random first passerby who comes up to you and says hello, or the first person you sleep with, or the first person you go on a first date with. That's probably not your style, just because, like I said, with that 10 of Wands and the Queen of Cups, you've kind of had to swallow back your truth and your feelings, and you also understand that people can be really critical and harsh and take things personally and or just take things you say and use them cruelly. It's really sucky, but unfortunately it's real. We got the 3 of Wands in reverse. Don't mind my brain stopping. Got the Knight of Wands. 10 of Swords upright this time. Oh, look, it landed right on the 10 of Swords. Come here, children. And we got King of Pentacles, which I said the Queen of Pentacles, so I'll take it. We got the 7 of Cups in reverse this time. Right on the 7 of Cups. And the 10 of Pentacles. Yeah. Just like Group 2, you got every 10 except 1, but I think Group 2 I got all of them. They're better than you. I'm kidding. I don't know. You got something. You got your own cool, interesting card patterns. You don't need all the tens. Look at all these aces. Look at the fact that you got the ten of swords twice. The whole sky pattern thing from earlier. The fool to the world. That's so cool. Like, don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But if you were drawn to like one of the other groups, you might want to, whichever one your gut goes to. I'm not gonna tell you which one. But you definitely have big plans, big abilities to amass such a bright, beautiful future. And I feel like with this Ten of Pentacles, it doesn't have to be something that's like Jeff Bezos levels of money. That's too much, exuberant. But it's more like leaving your mark on the world, on history. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you would like to be known for? Like, even if it's just like in a specific circle, you know that there are super small, tiny niches where there are like small cult heroes that some people would have never heard of, but because they are the modern father of whatever, I don't know, pigeon science. That's a random one, but yeah. They're just the modern scientists of pigeons, and so everyone who's a pigeon enthusiast or aficionado is like, yes, I love this guy. This is my person. I dig them. They I have a poster of them above my bed. And you're thinking on more of those terms instead of like, I need all of the recognition and all of the glory. You want to explore. You want to put your, to sink your toes into the sand a couple places and see what it is really that serves you right, and not really commit until you really find what it is that makes you really want to commit. You know, you don't want to feel rushed, pressured, or otherwise coerced into doing something just because it fills a quota, it satisfies someone else's wants or needs, it looks good on a resume. You know, you're not going to just become a lawyer just because you want 6 figures. You're going to become a lawyer because you want to help the people in your community, or maybe out of I'm hearing for some of you out of spite, like you got a parking ticket or something, a stupid ticket, and no one would help you with the case, and out of absolute spite and protest, you go to law school. You learn all the ins and outs of law and really obscure traffic law and stuff, and suddenly you're the best civil or traffic lawyer in your area, and everyone who's had the same BS happen to them is now like at your door, happy to support you, and you've got all this business, and now you got all this recognition and accolades, and you might not be like on the national newspapers, but you might be in the local newspapers. You might be a household name. You might really help some people's lives out and put them in a good direction, keep them from hitting absolute worst days ever. And you know, you might be that person that they get invited to like their family dinner one night because, man, without this person in my life, I don't know where I would have been. A random tangent, that is, but that's the kind of difference in path that you're looking to do, Group 3. You're not looking for that superficial and just fast here for an accolade or two. You were looking for the actual commitment, the real deal, to sink your fingers into something and commit to it. Or at the very least, you'd like to explore all the avenues and see what you'd like to sink your fingers into. And I also feel that definitely applies to people. Like, you, on one hand, I feel like you don't want the superficial, like, first dates and one night stands and stuff. That's definitely not something I feel like you tend towards. And for some of you with the Six of Cups in reverse, that might have been something you had a not so great experience with, and you learned and decided, like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore. This is not it for me, and we are not allowing this nonsense in our house. And it might be a little harder, slower for you to find the same kind of people who are on the same wavelength as you, since you're not, casually dating, or you might, like I said, for some of you might be introverts. A lot of you might be introverts, really. So it's going to be a little harder unless you really commit to getting out there and putting yourself out there and finding the community spaces in which you feel comfortable really shining and stretching your wings. But I feel like you're going to. You're going to find your space. You're going to find the place that you really shine in. Like I said, it might take some jumping around. It might take some doubling back. It might take a lot of exploring and curious and brushing shoulders with different people, shaking hands in different fields, and going different places. But once you find your niche, once you find the corner you're comfortable in, you're gonna You're gonna thrive, bro. It's gonna be like when you take a tree and transplant it somewhere, and where it's like the climate is closer to its native population. Like if you took like a avocado tree that was planted in Maine, and then you moved it down to like Arizona or like the South somewhere, that tree would just bloom. It would be like, wow, this is all the soil and conditions that I didn't know I needed. Thank you so much for my life. All right, let's get some advice for you. Advice. Group 3. Group 3. What advice do you have for Group 3 Spirit? Thank you. What advice do you have for Group 3 Spirit? Oh, there's that 9th house, the exploration. I told you that Sagittarius energy was strong. That was the card I was picturing when I said Sagittarius earlier, so I'm glad it just popped out like, hello. Right, one more card for Group 3 advice. Okay, I said one more, and she said, how about 2? And Virgo, hello. There I go. Oh, let's collect my cards. Look at that. Uranus, back at it again. And the camera is hating me. So we got Uranus, we got 9th house. We've got, thank you, transits in reverse, the climate. And North Node in reverse, future. It's very interesting. First of all, these cards are very big, colorful cards. Like there's a lot going on in these cards, and not just like I know this deck in general has a lot going on, but like these are like full cards. Like a lot of the cards are closer to this Uranus card, where it's like it's got designs in the background, but it's not a whole design. Like it's not like a whole all-consuming something like North Node, but like all of these are so big, such big energies. We got a 7, 7, 47, which is 11 when you add it up. And then we got 55, which is not only a repeating number, but it adds up to 10, which, oh, we got the 10s again. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. I'm really getting that, like, you are someone who can take a lot of big ventures, big explorative life path. You're going to meet some people in your path who are really going to redirect your life, who are really going to put a new spin, a new idea, a new perspective in your mind. It's really... I just noticed it's a transit's climate, and I was just talking before we shuffled the cards about the whole avocado tree getting moved to the south. Look at me. But, yeah, you just are really looking to change location. A lot of you might need to switch it up, switch up the route, even if it's just as simple as switching up the routine, take a new path to work, do something different with your routine instead of living the way you have been. And maybe even like a routine that's more considerate of your future self. For example, if you might be someone who's more indulgent side, drink a lot before bed, maybe you always wake up with a hangover or something, so you cut back on the alcohol before bed, or you don't drink before bed, or you double down on the water before bed with the alcohol, so you're not as messed up when you wake up. And you're just considering how to take care of yourself better and how to better yourself and prepare yourself for the day ahead and for the pretty much just shining your brightest, because you're not going to attract a bunch of cool people who want to hang around and be around you. You're not going to be really charming and enjoyable if you're tired and cranky and hungover and have a headache and just hating life, hating the world in a place that you don't enjoy with people that you don't like around you talking in your ear. It's like very easy to get miserable and see that as all that you're going to get and take that in as all you're going to get. But this is just a reminder that the world, the expanse, what you see is how you interpret it, how you take it in. You don't have to accept everything as the worst happening to me because I deserve it and I somehow alone am stuck with this burden of existing like this, alone and sad and in a world that doesn't understand me. Insert some 3 Days Grace music right now. But like, if you frame yourself as a victim, you're gonna be a victim. If you frame yourself as someone who has gone through some shit but is working through it now, that is exactly what you're going to go, and that's the exact energy you're going to bring to the table. And I'm not saying that you're just going to completely take your trauma, your experiences, the struggle and suffering you've been through, and just throw it in the trash can after you accept that it's been to you through, been done to you. Like, no, obviously. And I also am not expecting that if you move house or just change your routine or start traveling and globetrotting or doing the things that you wanted to do, and really getting into like your hobbies or your interests or finding your niche, none of those are gonna just suddenly solve all your problems and fix you. And I think you're very well aware of that, and that you're trying to find the solutions to that. Find how it is that you can modify and your worldview, the world around you, and really just make for the most positive environments and experiences you can possibly have instead of bracing for the worst that's to come. I hope that made sense. I really feel like I'm rambling with you, group 3. Alright. I'm gonna get one more set of cards. Group 3. What advice do we have for Group 3 spirit? What advice do we have for Group 3? Goodbye. 2. One more, please. Group 3, please. Ooh. Alright, I said 4. I said 3 and you gave me 4 again. Very interesting. Okay. Awesome. Alright, so bottom deck is mountain. Stand your ground. Yeah. Find what you can stand for. We've got Elder, move beyond ancestral patterns. Protection Guardian, drop your shields. Druid, hold the space. And Earth Mother, feel loved and comforted. Absolutely. If you don't already have a routine that takes you into nature, has you taking walks, and specifically just connecting with Mother Nature, your spirits, the universe, definitely include that. Even if it's just like some of you might just have a cat or a dog that you have to walk. Take the dog on a fancier walk, like find a nearby park if you can, or find a nicer little meadow if you can't. Also, if you spend a lot of time in nature, I feel like nature would appreciate you taking care of her just not like having to send, but also like, I was gonna say not having to send the cavalry, but also like a community-wide trash pickup or like cleanup would be a perfect opportunity to not only take care of and be in nature, but meet people with a similar interest and passion for caring for the environment. And it's a switch up of the routine. You're getting out there probably in an environment that you're not as familiar with, or maybe it's somewhere that you are familiar with and it's a whole new side of it, and you're making it look like a whole new place because you're making it look prettier, you're picking it up. And like I said, it'll connect you to new people, and now you're picking up with the community. Now you got all sorts of people to talk to and chat to and groove with as you take care of the land. And now, who knows, after this you all can go take a hiking trip together or something. And boom, now you've got a little posse of nature-loving dudes. But hey, that's just one thing. But definitely, if you have been held back before by fearful talk in the past that have led to mindsets that make you feel ashamed, afraid, and otherwise worried about this, making progress, making friends, and getting out of your shell again. You've gotten through this. You've already hit the worst. You've already dealt with these wounds. You've already come to terms with your weaknesses. You've already seen the worst that could come out, and you're not going to repeat those mistakes. You're not going to mess up and make a mockery of yourself or something. And if people are telling you that, especially if they're like family, old friends with quotation marks, because if they're telling you you're gonna fail and suck, then like see them out of your lives. They are not friends. Do not keep people around just to save face or look nice or look like the bigger person. I don't care if it makes me look dickish. If you're talking nonsense and if you're being cruel to me behind my back, if you're wishing for my downfall, if you're telling me that my ideas are all going to fail, then you can kindly see yourself to the door, and I hope that it hits you on the way out. Like, no need to be hating, no need to be mad because I'm making progress, and you are stuck, wanting, and afraid. If these people were to harness your energy of go-getting, of tenacity, of believing in what it is that you can achieve and what it is that your dreams will provide you, then maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't be so insecure. Because I really feel like you're not that old, Group 3, but you have all this wisdom and knowledge that is passed on from both seeing other people go through these experiences and learning firsthand of what it's like to get shot down and struggle and have to go over hurdles and have to backtrack and have to not be fully prepared when going into a situation that would require much more mastery. You've already stumbled and fallen and failed. You've got that. You already know how to avoid a lot of these pitfalls. I'm really getting on the scene from The Matrix where Neo's blocking the agent, just completely bored looking with one hand. Like, you already know what you're doing. You already got this. You don't need someone reassuring you or validating your every step. You have the power and the strength to create, to go and move forward with every step and move mountains. You can move the mountains. They cannot move you because you are a mountain. And you need someone who can have that same strength. Interesting that there's two older people right here, the druid and the elder. It's like, you're both wise, strong, and there was also the hermit, so boom. All the elders. You're looking for old souls, really. People who are wise beyond their years, not because they know everything, but because they are willing to hold space for learning more and hold the idea that they don't know everything and that the world is ever expanding and growing, and there's always going to be facets and niches and different things that they won't know and be expert in. But if they always keep their mind open and eyes wide and keep trying to live a little life, live life lusciously was what I wanted to say, but I have no idea why. Where did that come from? But yeah, be able to live like Larry and really live as if you're constantly a student of the world, always ready to learn and meet new people and expand. And that is a state that you really crave. You know, really getting strong Sagittarius from you, because you are very much an explorative, knowledge-craving creature, and even if it requires you stepping out of your bubble, stepping out of your comfort zone, and doing some things that, you know, might feel a little weird, your true power, wisdom, and like charm are going to show through as soon as you do, and it will pay in dividends with how you are rewarded with your efforts, how you're rewarded with relationships, how you're rewarded with good fortune and good outcomes, even if everything doesn't pan out the exact way that you were maybe expecting it to. And again, rejection is divine protection. I feel like I just need to reiterate that. Group 3. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading. This felt all over, but I feel like y'all are very much that energy. You guys are, like I said, Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius and Virgo, which is very funny because I have my Sagittarius in my 6th house, which is Virgo, if you weren't aware. So, yeah, I have very much both of those energies. I get you, for sure, Group 3. And while it can feel a little chaotic and all over the place, once you really get yourself centered and gears rolling and you start to understand like what it is you already are good at, what it is you want to improve in, and get a game plan together of how to accomplish it, it feels easier every day. And when you start finding those, when you get really confident in it and showing it off, you'll start finding those people who you really connect with and mesh with and can also show you their wisdom and their skills and their experiences. And then y'all start bonding and creating things. Before you know it, you got a little empire of comrades. Don't take that in a terrible way, please. Make it a good empire. Good empire sounds oxymoronic, but I digress. Alright, thank you, Group 3, for tuning in, and thank you to your guides and mine for helping me get these messages out to you guys. Thanks for watching this far in the video as well. It's been a minute. It is good googly. We are at hour 58. 58 popped on the screen as soon as I looked at the time. But yeah, dang near an hour. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. you got any ideas for more readings in the future, drop them in the comments. The description's going to have all the decks that I use, as well as if you would like a personal reading, I've got info on that in the description, and as well as the Ghibli deck, the creator of that will be linked. Otherwise, I will see you guys next one. Take it easy. Hello and welcome, Group 4, if you chose the Midnight card. This is going to be your group and your reading for what you are wanting, needing out of relationships. And just off of the card alone, I'm really getting, some of you might be night owls, since it says midnight, you know. You just might have a schedule that aligns with nighttime. For others of you, might just be a little bit, out of the bounds, out of the ordinary, off the beaten path, a little bit weird. Sensing some neurodivergence from some of us. But, other than that, really just a little bit different. Maybe not always fitting in with groups, maybe not finding your circle easily, or having very specific people in your circle. Like, I get you're the kind of person who gets friends and you keep them for a long time. Long-term friends are your thing, like friend from childhood, friend from years ago that you met on an adventure on a whim, and now you guys keep in touch for forever. And if that's not your kind of thing, or if you don't do that often, then I might be coming up where you just go on an excursion, do something, and meet people, find a crowd that you're very interested in, and find yourself, my mouth is very dry. Find yourself drawn to. Midnight is also the witching hour. As it says, the most magical hour of all. So some of you might just be getting until you're in tune with yourself, your highest self, your intuitive selves, and really getting in depth with what is and isn't serving you in terms of habits, in terms of people around you. Because midnight starts a new day. Midnight is the rolling over of the clock. So you might just be getting a Wheel of Fortune energy, changing up your luck, changing up your cycles, changing up surroundings and how you do things and how you see things and how you're living. And that might lead to changes in your circle and changes in who you are associating with closer. Very interesting. All right, let us get started with some oracle cards. Heather, please do not fall on the floor. Take another sip of water because I am parched. Group 4, drink your water. Not your sodas, not your juice, not your coffee. Tea is okay, but easy on the sugar. I am also someone who likes tea with his sugar, but put 8 cubes instead of 12 next time. Cut back. And drink water when you can. Alright, Group 4. What are you wanting and needing out of a relationship, Group 4? 8. Okay. Chiron in reverse. Please sit still. Please. Thank you. One more card for Group 4, please. Hello. Got Waning Crescent in reverse. I think I'm filming this during the Waning Crescent. I'm just wondering because when I was filming Group 1, I think Waning Gibbous came out, and I was filming it during the Waning Gibbous. It just works out. Our bottom deck is Mutable in reverse. So you're out of the way. Absolutely. Definitely see the applying of that, changing up your energy. You definitely, if you're not already working on it, you are evaluating your habits, evaluating yourself and how you live. And a lot of you might be on a healing journey of mind and soul and even body, whether it's taking better care of your body, going to the doctor to address issues that might be there, or actually just acknowledging like, hey, this part of me hurts, this part of me's not right. Maybe I should take better care of that. Or for others of you, it might apply to like mental health, mental. I mentioned neurodivergence. You might be getting like psychiatric help so you can get your meds, or you might be getting like therapist or psychiatrist help. Psychologist, that's the word I'm looking for. Psychologist help. And getting a treatment plan, working on taking care of your mind better, and addressing emotions that might have been left in a less than pleasant state. And really, especially with that waning crescent in reverse, I feel like there might be some last wound, some last, like, I really feel like a lot of you have been on this journey of healing already. Like, this isn't the beginning. Some of you might be beginning, or you may have fallen off, gotten a little bit, shaken. Things, I mean, healing is not linear. It happens. But I really feel like you are back at it stronger than ever and ready to tackle the issues at hand and get it worked out. You want to be the best version of yourself, like no one ever was. Stop there. And you don't want to be your own enemy, your own blockage, because you've got all this potential. And I feel like you are even getting your footing, like finding your confidence, finding where you fit in and how you can fit in. And there might be things that you're seeing, like as you are getting started, as you're taking those strides that are presenting themselves as like, okay, why can't I make this progress? Why can't I, like, excuse me, I'm so thirsty. But for example, like if you are up for promotion, or for example, but you're hesitating because you're doubting yourself, because maybe back years ago there was a time where you were put in charge of something and it went to shit for some reason and it got blamed on you, even if you had all the alibi and justification and defense possible. It was all put to you, and now you're worried about doing something similar or another sort of similar event happening, and it's holding you back from like progressing because God forbid you mess up and people blame you. Well, first of all, that was unjust. You have to realize that some things just happen and are awful and weren't your fault. And then also realize that even if you mess up, even if things don't go all according to Keikaku, translator's note, Keikaku means plan. That's a joke, don't worry about it. But even if everything doesn't go perfectly the way you wanted it to, everything's a learning lesson, and mistakes are forgiven. It's human to make mistakes. And people can't forgive you for making a mistake, even though I can guarantee that they've messed up somewhere in their lives and done something that they're not so proud of, something that may have jeopardized something else of importance in their life. If someone held that over them and kept them to that standard forever, then they would never grow. With all that being said, we're definitely looking for people who will mirror that energy. People who are either in or on their healing journey. People who are looking to improve themselves. People who are forgiving of themselves. Like, I know it's kind of commonplace online to be like super self-deprecating and such like that. And I mean, a good joke at one's expense as a treat. That's fun. That's all fun and games. We get it. That's kind of humbling. It's it's being able to poke fun at oneself is a show of, not being completely like egotistical and insecure. Because if any kind of half-hearted joke made at your expense, and you messed up something silly and we all make a joke about it, and good-hearted feelings type situation, if you can't handle something like that without retaliating, without taking it personally every time, without realizing we're all laughing with you, not at you, then it's probably not going to work out. It's not going to be very healthy. And it's also very much a show of lack of reflection, which you cannot handle. You're very much a go with the flow. You are a commingle, a coexist. You might not you might not get along with everyone, and you might not have the biggest circle, but the people that you have around know that you're like the peacekeeper. You are a caring person. You are someone who is very much, I know I described you like a very unique person, extraordinary, very different, like a very cool to have around person, someone who usually has very insightful things to say because of the experiences that they've gone through or the things they've learned, and they love to share. You're very much a sharing person, which is good, but also make sure that you are taking care of your own needs first, always. But I think I want to move on to the next deck. Sip of water first. Just painfully thirsty today. Excuse you. I feel like in this reading I've been describing more of you, the reader, than the kind of relationship you need, but I mean, relationships often reflect ourselves, or parts of ourselves. So, if you don't understand where you're coming from, then you're not going to really have an angle to come and meet other people with. Group 4. Hello. I'll take both of those, thank you. Got Wisdom, the Night Orchid, and Preserve with Silver Ghost. Can I get one more card, please? Group 4. Group 4 what they want in a relationship. Do you want to come out? Yes. Protection and the Clove Pink. Our bottom deck is Strength, Rose of Mexico. Yeah. So you got Mutable and then you got Preserve, and both those are reversed. And I don't feel like that's like you completely giving up your identity and like melding codependent kind of energy, but I feel like you're very adaptable. Like you might have a bunch of different facets to yourself. Like you might have a very varied, yes, variety, continue it, of skills and interests. That wisdom, especially in the midnight. You have midnight reminds me of December, which would be like Sagittarius to Capricorn. And also December is when New Year's is, which is the switch to the next year. You know, and which, you know, that's kind of, it has its metaphorical meanings, but I would get a very death type wise energy out of that with maturity, sort of old soul, that kind of energy where you have, usually you have a lot of experiences, whether it's things that you learn or it's things that you go through yourself. Also Mutable is Sagittarius, so Sagittarius is mutable. That's English, not the proper English, I speak it. Anyway, back on topic. You might be, like I said, an old soul, wise person, someone with a lot of a jack of all trades, master of none, and it might be something that you've learned that because of maybe some of your interests or maybe some of your habits is something I'm just hearing, like habits, the way that you, like routines, like I mentioned, neurodivergence in the beginning. You might be a little bit unorthodox, out of the little bit, you know, different, a little to the left of everyone else, but you know, it works for you, it's healthy, it's happy, it makes, and the people who are around you, it makes them happy, it keeps things stable, you know, nothing's wrong with it, there's nothing to be concerned with, but it might be something like you might just live a slightly different life than other people, you might just live a little bit off the beaten path. One thing I'm hearing is like maybe you have a difference in diet, like I know veganism is a little bit more common now, but you might be something of that nature, or have like a gluten intolerance, so you make all your food or something. You might, speaking of making food, you might grow all your food. You might live a very specific like lifestyle that is a little bit, like I said, different. But the people who are around you who understand, they might not live exactly like you, but they know that you are reliable. They know that you are trustworthy, and they know that you know what you're doing. And if you need information on something, especially in the fields that you know about, they know who to call. And definitely, if people who come into your life do not value your talents, value all that you've built, created, eight is all about harmony, abundance, infinity. Strength is the eighth card. But that's a very self-disciplined, strong, and I'm hearing like well tamed because I saw the lion. But yeah, you've got the ego, you've got all the same issues and character flaws as any other person, but you are you've had time, you've had the forethought, you've had the ability to reflect and really see where it is that you have lacked, slipped, been caught lacking in past, and you've now had the ability to gather intel, gather resources, gather the experience needed to grow and heal and change and become a better version of yourself instead. And again, that might not be the way that other people did it. You might have gone a little bit of a different way for a lot of you. Like, your life may not have been the exact same. You might not have done school the same way. You might not have gotten a job the same way. You might be, living in a different housing situation than your peers, but it's working for you. You're healthy. You're happy, and anyone who has non-constructive criticism about it can kindly keep it in their pocket, because unless they are here to help build your fortress and join the ranks, be a comrade, and see where we can go from here, then what are they doing here? They're just hating. Blame. I haven't seen yet. I've had this deck for 2 months and I still haven't seen all the cards in it. Card for you. Group 4. What's group 4 wanting in a relationship? Group 4 wanting in a bad relationship. One regret and one more please. Group 4 wanting in a relationship. Hello. Adversity in reverse. And our bottom deck is forgiveness in reverse. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. And hearing forgive but not forget. Someone who learned from their past instead of ignoring it. Yeah. This regret card says, I know that I cannot change the past. What did I just say? I did not read the card, I promise. Excuse me. And then adversity in reverse, it says, I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. Absolutely. One more time we drink water. Just thirsty as I'll get out today. I'm telling y'all. Drink some water, hydrate or dehydrate, folks. But you've definitely made your fair share of mistakes, stumbled. Like I said, recovery is not linear, healing is not linear, life is not linear. So no matter what, you already know the value of taking L's and making mistakes, and how being rerouted can mean finding a whole new way to do things, how rejection can be divine protection. And I definitely feel like you have taken, especially with that Chiron in reverse, the waning crescent, the regret, you've taken the time to really look into the past, look at what you've done and how you've lived life and where you've been and how people around you have lived, how life around you has been set up, and try to see like what the best course of action is. You're not trying to repeat the mistakes of the past. You're not trying to go down the same roads that you've seen other people struggle down and stumble down. It is, I'm definitely getting that a lot of you are generational curse breakers in your family. And it's, it's no fun, it's no easy feat to not just stumble down the same drain that everyone else did, but you're doing it, and heck, it seems to be working out for you just fine. And just know that you are not the only one. You are not, you, it feels isolating, it feels exhausting, and you feel like no one else will understand, but you're going to be around people, you're bringing those people into your life who understand that, yeah, maybe, example, yeah, my family was sucky. My parents were some BS. Does that mean all parents suck? No. Does that mean we can do better for our kids, the next generation? Yes. Does that mean I'm going to try and learn? Yes. Does that mean I'm perfectly equipped right now? Probably not. Am I going to learn and grow, though? Got plenty of time for it. Definitely more of a slow and steady moves the race energy. Knight of Pentacles. Really trying to lay all the groundwork, make sure all the kinks are worked out before you make steps forward. But when you make a step forward, it is powerful, it is well planned, and you know that it's going to follow through. It might be unconventional, but by George, it'll work. For sure. I like it. I like your energy, group 4. You guys are quirky, but not in a bad, weird way. So we're going to get the chords. I looked up, stretched. It said 2112. So, fun stuff. Y'all creating some groovy vibes. Now let's get the Ghibli deck out. And the link to this shop will be in the description. Because she does not have an Etsy page. She has her own, like, shop page. She had past tense an Etsy page, but not anymore. That's how I found her. Gosh, I'm glad I did this. Look at these cards. They are my fave. Yeah, I have a lot of cards that I say they're my fave, but like this has to be like easy top 3 decks. Alright, group 4. What do you guys want and need out of a relationship, group 4? Group 4 want and need out of a relationship. Goodness. Okay. Can you stop throwing cards across the room, please? I'm going to hold you there. So retrieve you. Thank you. Group 4. What does group 4 want in the relationships? Okay, I'll take them both. There's that Wheel of Fortune. Group 4. What does group 4 want in out of a relationship? Did you flip a card in the middle? I don't think so. What's to be seen? 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting. Oh. Of course, the wind blows through the window the minute I take my robe off. Okay, let's see. You guys. Give me an uneven cards. So we got the Sun in reverse, clarifying. 4 of Swords. Alright. Got the Queen of Wands, clarifying. The Ace of Wands. Alright, you're the one who threw yourself. I thought so. That's reversed. Got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Clarifying. The 8 of Wands in reverse. We got the 7 of Cups in reverse. Clarifying. The Chariot. And got the Emperor in reverse. I'm going to take that as one of our overall themes, which is very interesting. The 9 of Pentacles also wanted to show itself, so I'm going to actually grab that one out. Come with me. Hello, now we have 10. I love a good even number. I like how the reading just kind of expanded. I just kind of let Spirit give me how many cards they wanted. I think I got like 6 for group 1 and or 2, and then when 6 went to 8, and now we're at 10. thing I was drawn to is the Eight of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune, both reversed. Those are lucky, fast-moving cards. I really feel like, luck maybe hasn't been your strongest trait. If you were a character in D&D, your luck stat would be way low. Which is a natural one. Like, you may have drawn short stick a lot. Like I said, you may have been the outcasty, on the fringes. Maybe some of you definitely may have dealt with some outcasting, like actual social ostracizing. Either that, maybe even bullying, and that may have even, I feel like a lot of you may have left a lot of like emotional wounds as well. I know I mentioned before with like family and jobs, but that is also a valid trauma and a valid experience to have dealt with that can shape your life perspective. That's what I'm looking for. And it may have also taken a lot of time for you to unlearn and still be maybe unlearning these fears, this doubt that you had. Queen of Wands, it's definitely you, but she's old. No offense to Sophie, but she's old. Yeah, she did not learn this in her youth. She, as you see, she may have not had a great time, as much of a good time as she'd wanted. The luck was not always on her side. She had to become a little bit more dogmatic about it, making things work for her. And definitely, I see you being a little bit more decisive, a little bit more, what do you call that? God, I can't remember the word. Yeah, decisive is all I can get on who you are around, who you keep close, who you are vulnerable with. And with the Four of Swords and the Sun reverse, I feel like that was definitely a lesson that was not easily learned. Like, you really wanted to be optimistic, have the benefit of the doubt for people, and you've learned that there are good people, and you don't have to be completely cynical and cold, but maybe don't just immediately tell everyone every detail about yourself, and listen to the red flags, take a step back and reevaluate things that are happening. If something feels off, ask and consider why, instead of just being like, it's nothing. And maybe considering that if this person keeps overstepping your boundaries, or things keep feeling weird, or if they keep giving you signs, and if everyone around you is saying things, maybe listen. Because like I said, you may have gotten into this almost complacent, complicit mindset due to your upbringing or due to your environment that made you think like, well, being singled out, ostracized, dogpiled, this is just normal. This is fine. But no. That's not cool. That's not fun. And with that Chariot clarifying the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Cups clarifying the Chariot, my backwards self, you're becoming a lot more, it's not that you're losing your like dreamy self, not that you're losing like that wonder, that desire for more, but it's like you're grounding it more in reason, and you're realizing that you have the childish wonder, but sometimes other people don't have the same drive to make that childish wonder a reality. Not everyone can be as much as he sucks, not everyone can make Walt Disney happen. Only some people can make it happen, even if he kind of stomped out another company to do it. But shh. This is supposed to be a good metaphor. Don't worry about it. Ugh. Tangent side. You may have also dealt with and are maybe worried about controlling people. Not you being controlling, but other people being controlling. That may be a common theme in your in relationships you've dealt with, and people you've been around, is that they've been very rigid, very unmoving, unyielding. That mutable in reverse is really coming to mind. Mutable is a very flexible sign. Mutable signs being Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius. Yeah. But you may have dealt with some people who were less yielding, less willing to work with things. It was more like their way or nothing is happening, and it had made you more complacent to just letting things slide. Your boundaries go all the way down, and you're no longer really worried about your needs, so long as everyone else is pleased and satisfied. And now you've moved away from that. Now you are trying to make sure that you don't slide into that habit. And I feel like you've definitely got the awareness, the mental clarity, and capacity to decide if someone is overstepped, if someone is being like that, and you won't allow people like that in your life. So if you're worried about maybe like in your next relationships, your next friendships, your next business partners, that you're gonna have something like that happen, I definitely feel like you have to be concerned, because you are well aware and you have the self, like you have your own self agency now, especially if a lot of this happened as a child or when you were younger, dependent on someone, or even when you were older and in a situation where it was like you became codependent, whether it was because of finances or emotions. You've grown from that. Excuse me. You've grown from that. You have changed from that. You are no longer there. You're no longer that person. You have moved beyond this situation. You have done. You are doing your healing. If you have not already done a lot of it, you are in the works. You are well on your way. And if you are worried about slipping, people slip all the time. Slip ups happen. But yeah, unless you just completely fall off the wagon, then a slip up or two is not world ending. It is okay to have off days. It is okay to be down. It is okay to think the world sucks and just want to go home and have a drink and watch comfort shows. I'm hearing a baby crying right now. Yeah, it is okay to cry. Yeah, there he is. Oh, he is angry. He is very angry. Okay, baby, quiet now. I don't even know where I was. Not gonna lie. And I think I just bumped the camera. Yeah, of course I did. Always. Always. Okay. I have no idea where I was, but I definitely see you being more decisive in your relationships on both boundaries and just, respecting yourself, knowing that, so what if I'm not the most popular? So what if I'm not, you know, the prettiest, the smartest, the coolest? I think I'm pretty cool. I think what I do is neat. And I'm pretty good at what I do. And if that isn't enough for someone, if they can't handle your weird self, I'm really getting like Miss Frizzle vibes. Like, if someone can't handle Miss Frizzle, like if you're going to be an Arnold about it, then you can kindly see yourself off the cat bus. Because we're going on an adventure. Seatbelts, everyone. But I also feel like there's a fear like you missed your chance also. Some of you might be a little, not even older, like I really get the sense that a lot of you are like 20s, at most maybe early 30s. I mean, obviously there are going to be older viewers watching this, but I feel like there's a worry here with the Queen of Wands and the Emperor and the Knight of Pentacles both reversed. Like, you might have already missed your chance because you took too long, you worried about it, or there's someone who's going to do it better. But just like I just said, just because someone else might quote unquote do it better doesn't mean that they're doing it the way you would, the way that you want to. And so what that there's more than one? Apparently that's what capitalism was supposed to be all about, is having the opportunity to just have a gajillion of whatever. And take your choice of whichever one you want. So people have the choice to choose yours. And if you're authentic and dedicated to your craft, and people will see that and be interested, even if it's not the one that's all on TV and magazine. If it's the one that they think is authentic and neato, then they will be attracted. And the same with people. You don't have to worry about showing off and being the best dressed, best presenting, loudest voice in the room. You don't have to be the one who is getting all the drinks bought for them. You don't have to be the one who's getting all the attention every time they walk in. Because you might have one person who comes up to you and is really cool and interesting, and you make a really nice connection with them. Or you might just have your circle around you who is having a good time, and it doesn't matter if you guys are the biggest, the brightest, the loudest, because y'all are doing you. And you really learn that authenticity and just living the way that you feel best is the easiest way to find your way to progress, to find your way to success, and really be in control of your reality instead of leaving the gambling out to the universe. Interesting. Interesting, huh? Shuffle. Play cards. Group 4. Any further messages for group 4? Okay. Further messages for group 4. Oh, excuse me. Goodbye. Can you please cooperate? Further messages for group 4. Alright. Got the Queen of Cups in reverse as our bottom deck. Besides this, 2 of Pentacles that neatly tucked itself in my crystals. I have now collected them all. Alright. Queen of Pentacles. Yes. 2 of Wands in reverse. And that it? Yeah. How do you want to fall? 9 of Pentacles upright this time. I really feel like that's what you're embodying now. Like, you might have the fear and worry about falling back into the habits of before, where you were doing great, where you were, my bad, I'm just scooting back, where you were kind of underneath someone's thumb, or just going with the flow, going with what looked right. I think I mentioned this in another pile, but like, if you were maybe like going to school or doing a job just because it looked good on a resume, or just because it was like what was socially acceptable or expected out of you, instead of, you know, going with what you really wanted or were interested in, what would make you happy. Now you are taking the steps towards living more authentically, and there might be a fear that you, like I said, you missed the boat, or it's going to be harder for you now that you're like past the prime age for some of you, or maybe because you're just starting late and you're worried that it's going to be harder for you. It might even be harder for you because, you know, circumstances are different. You know, right out of high school, the circumstances are a little different than when you are in your 20s or in your 30s. Going back to school is a little bit of a challenge if you've got a kid or got a full-time job. Factors like that are, you know, important, and they do play a role. But this Queen of Pentacles, it feels both like you and someone else, because that Knight of Pentacles definitely is playing into your energy of independence, of taking care of things and priorities. And especially with the Two of Pentacles, I really feel like you are balancing your life out now. You are, like I said, you're on your path, you're on your way, you're figuring things out. You might not have everything completely worked out and all the fine details, and it might be a little rough around the edges, and, you know, like I said, you might drop the ball, make mistakes, stumble. For some of you, if you're like having relationships, you might go out, date, get into a relationship, it doesn't work out after a few months, you know, you have a couple flings, you know, a couple things that are like, you know, it might not work, it's just fun, it's not what I'm looking for, it's gonna ever happen. But the concern isn't really of making concrete plans of when it's going to happen. The concern right now is just making sure that you are embodying your most authentic self and you are living true to what it is you want and need. So, like, if you find yourself in a job and you feel miserable, being authentic would be scouting out a new job so that you can, or a new career path, or a new way to get money, so that you may, you know, not feel so miserable in your life. And I know that's easier said than done, but it with under a series of circumstances and with effort, it is possible. Or I know I mentioned relationships. Like, if you are worried about relationship and like ending up in a partnership that you're not happy about, if you're in a partnership you're not happy about, then you discuss it with your partner. And if you can't work things out there, then you walk away. It's unfortunate, but if it's not helping, if their options are not lining up with yours, if it's not working out with what you need, then the more mature, the more healthy option would be to make peace with that. Appreciate, be grateful for what you have, what has been done, and walk away. It's not that like you're forgetting it, erasing it from your life entirely. It's just like, this is not what I need right now. This is not the best course of actions right now, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing my best that I can, and I'm moving forward with my life, and not just dragging my feet and moving along for other people's sake, which is definitely something I feel like is a growth spot for you. Like, that is definitely something you've struggled with. Boundaries, saying no, doing things because it serves the community or the greater good, because you don't want to shake the boat. Now you're more self-focused, you're more self-driven, which that doesn't mean that you're completely selfish and like not think of anyone ever, but it means that instead of putting everyone else first, you put yourself first, which is very cool if you root for, and I'm rooting for you. And it's definitely reflective of what you're looking for as well. You don't want someone who is like putting you on a pedestal, but you also don't want someone who is a complete egotistical butt wipe who won't appreciate you for what you are and what you do. There is a line, yes. Excuse you. Excuse you too. I see a card flipping around. No? Okay. I'll just... Don't mind me. Alright. Group 4. Get some advice for Group 4 spirit. Advice for Group 4 spirit. Advice for Group 4 spirit. Alright. I'm not taking all of those for that one. Okay, I'll take that one too. Because it just threw itself out of my hand. Can I get it? Advice for Group 2. I mean Group 4, jeez. Nope, alright. Bottom deck. Oh, another deck got, another pile got square as their bottom deck. Square, semi-square, quincunx, intention. So what threw itself in my lap? Cancer. Absolute. Immerse. Got conjunction, reverse, alliance, and Pisces. Sensitize. Very emotional. Got 2 water signs. Yeah. I know that you care. I'm getting again. Why did I just do a Popeye laugh? But again, I'm getting the same message of it sucks to step on toes. Sometimes it sucks to hurt feelings and not be the one who's reliable and be able to, just go with the flow and not have to put a wrench in the system. You don't want to be that guy, but like, be that guy. Unfortunately, you gotta be that guy. And unfortunately, life will move on because you aren't Atlas holding the world up. That's not your job. You are one individual who should be expected to take care of themselves first and worry about themselves. It's not that you don't care about the community. It's just that, the community has kind of run you dry over the years. And or the community ain't respected what you've been bringing anyway. So, it is not wrong to set boundaries. It is not wrong to prioritize your own healing and care and needs before throwing yourself into the fray and taking bullets for random people who, let's be honest, some of these people would not be taking bullets for you. And of course, exceptions. I'm not telling you just be completely selfish, and if, your friend needs a little support or something, just be like, no, never ask me for anything again. But, if you're always your friend's shoulder to cry on, and they can never do the same for you, then maybe be like, hey, can I get an ear for once? And if not, can we have a discussion on why? Because I'm feeling quite unheard here. I would like a voice. And there's nothing wrong with voicing concerns, having an opinion, having needs. And if anyone ever shames you for having needs, that's wrong. And yeah, that needs to be addressed immediately because that's a bright red flag. Now, caveat. Again, with that Knight of Pentacles, I feel like you fear falling into codependent, needy energy. But I feel like you have, especially with the Pisces and the Cancers, like you have a very good awareness of your feelings at this point. I highly doubt, Group 4, that you would be the kind of person to just kind of dump your emotions randomly at any time, or just like constantly use that was the first example I thought of, but the first thought that came to mind was like, if you have a group chat with friends or something, to constantly use the group chat as essentially your therapy spot, you're not that kind of person. You may have in the past, but not anymore, definitely. And you wouldn't do that just unprompted, out of pocket. You would definitely be like, yo, I'm about to vent. That cool? At the very least. And even so, with how you are, I really feel like you aren't the kind of person just in the group chat anyway. You would find trusted individuals, people you can trust and rely on, and know that you can put your emotions into, which might take some time. So when you are finding these people who you are new to, people you are making new friendships and relationships with, it might take a little bit of time for you to be the most like vulnerable and open and tell them all of about your secrets and your trauma and the things that make you tick, you know. And they need to understand that like it's not them, and really it's not even you. It's just a discretion. Why? I'm not saying that like everyone is untrustworthy, but to just I would just feel like you have emotional control, yes, and you understand your emotions to the point where it's like you have the proper outlets to take care, manage of, and deal with your emotions, and you feel better when you do it in a way that is more privatized and more like intimate. There you go. That's where I'm trying to get the word. People who you're closer to. So you don't want to just, first date, hi, hello, this is my whole life. It's not because you don't trust them. It's just because that's how you work. You don't really see that being like first date topic. That's not really the first thing you need to know about me. I'm a whole person beyond my past. I'm a whole person beyond what I've been through. I'm the whole person past this. Like, get to know all the other things about me. And if it's a problem that you can't like dig deep into my diary immediately, get into my heart space, and like super duper open me up, why? I don't know where that tangent has come to, but I really feel like you, Group 4, might have a little bit, like, it's not like a guarded heart, but like you're setting up your boundaries. And now that you actually have an awareness of your boundaries, you're setting them pretty firm, You got an electric fence, and you're not afraid to use it. Okay, cards, goodbye. Threw itself all over the floor. One more shuffle, please. Alright, some final cards for advice. Group 4. Advice for Group 4 spirit. What advice do you have for Group 4? Okay. Advice do you have for Group 4 spirit? Okay. One more card, please. Oh, thank you. Thanks. And our bottom deck is Winter in Reverse. Take care of your needs. Got Oracle. Wait for important information. Okay, bye. Landed up right there. Great teacher. Learn from spiritual experience. And Druid. Hold the space. sip of water. Absolutely. Also, these cards are very gray. Like, all three of these cards have a gray background. And even the wolf on the winter is gray. And I really feel like that might be you. Like, you're... Wednesday Addams is the first thing that came to mind. Like, you're not a very open, like, super outwardly emotional and super duper vulnerable on the spot person. And people need to be patient with you when they want you to open up, because you're more of a listen person than a talking person. And it's not that you won't talk, but you'd rather, I feel like you're very much rather a listener and advice giver. Especially with all that you've heard and known. You seem to have little tidbits for everyone. Like I said, you might be the group therapist, where you've dealt with being the therapist for the friends and the family and the past relationships. But now you're holding space for yourself, and you are taking all that you've learned through your growth, through your journey. A lot of you may have even had someone to look up to, whether it was a spiritual teacher. Some of you may have even just been your spirit team, getting in touch with your spiritual side, and really with that, and mindfulness, that self-awareness, and the emotional balance and stability that brings. It may really have helped you bring... I'm sorry, I got distracted. The fact that there's two snakes on here, but it really have helped you bring, like, yourself to emotional stability, to have seen, like, other people able to deal with it and how other people handled it, and getting the, like, advice from watching others deal with similar situations as you, and really, it's like the less isolating feeling of, you feel like you've gone through this and you're the only one who's dealt with this, and you don't know how anyone else would understand, and then you realize, like, no, you're like, not that, like, you're not unique at all, but, like, you're not on an island all alone suffering. This is something that has been dealt with. This is something that you can handle. This is something you can heal from and move on from and deal with. Life doesn't end here at the roadblock. And now you're able to pass that same kind of information to people you care about. You are definitely more of a approach me and I will speak to you type person. And not in the NPC type way. I don't mean like that, because as I was mentioning before, there's, like, I think that's a snake. Yeah, it looks like a snake on his arm. There's two snakes in this. You have a very powerful, and snakes are more of a, I'm going to sneak up on you and attack. They are not very, like, they're very stealthy. They move quietly. They move along the underbrush. They observe, and then they strike. You're very much a methodical thinker now, and you may not have come from that. You may have been a very, like, emotionally driven, emotionally chaotic person, and because of your experiences, because of your growth, you haven't lost your weirdness. You haven't lost your edge, your spark, but you've gained control of your emotions. You've gained an understanding of yourself that is invaluable and will really help you in not only, like, making your life more satisfying, being able to live more authentically as yourself, however that may look and be, but also to attract people of that same type, and also ward off people who are looking to really just kind of take advantage of what it is that you have learned and what it is that you know, because unfortunately some people suck, and there are going to be people who just try to glean information off of you, get associated. I noticed that great teacher and conjunction around on top of each other, and it's like people might try and sneak into your circle or get into your good graces to just kind of get your secrets, Plankton trying to steal the Krabby Patty formula type shit. And especially with this now, a better emotional awareness and control, you are able to weed those people out much easier. You're able to see into the red flags instead of just letting them pass, and you're able to address them when they come up instead of just hoping they'll go away in time and twiddling your thumbs and expecting, oh no, they'll change on their own, they know that it's bad. People can be very unaware. And you've learned that if it's not said, if it's not addressed, they will never go addressed. I definitely feel you becoming a community leader in group 4. Like, even if you, even if it's like a small community, you are going to set an example. You are someone who has a lot of great views and great power behind them, and the wisdom that could be definitely beneficial to the community around, at large community around you. And like I said, even if it's not like the biggest platform ever, I feel like you're gonna have a voice. You're going to have an influence, and you're going to have definitely lessons and information that is well beyond worth sharing, and people will be especially grateful to have had you like around and had the opportunity to meet you and know you, even if they don't get to, the level 99 wizard, of which they get to hear all of your tragic backstory. And they'll be happy to glean any messages, any stories, information from you, because you're just a character. You're a fun dude, and you're very interesting. Like, the breadth of your life and knowledge is just something that anyone would be grateful to just have and have been around. Very, very powerful group 4. I love that energy, and I love that for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading today. Thank you for your spirits as well as mine for helping me get these messages out to you guys. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you liked the video, you can leave a like on it. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you've got any suggestions for future readings, you can leave them in the comments. Check the description for all the decks used. If you want to get a private reading, there will be information down there. I think that's everything.